What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. We are finally back. It's been weeks since our last episode, but life happens. It's the way she goes. I'm happy to see you guys joining in the chat as of already. So, guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Olympics. What's your favorite event, especially since that's going on right now? Devastating loss for the Canadians today, but we'll chat about that as well. We're going to also talk about what have you guys been collecting lately, right? There's not been as much Hot Toys news, and I know some of my panelists have been getting some pretty cool stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're also going to talk about the debate as to whether 2.0s are actually good for our hobby or not. I wonder what side of the fence you guys are going to sit on. And then we've got some Hot Toys news and all of the other things in between. So guys, stick around. If you guys liked the video today, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show. And of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get 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 nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
I am so excited to be back. We already have 15 people watching us live. Guys, thanks for being here, getting nuts with us on Sunday. Let's bring out, of course, our first panelist of the day, co-host of the show, Mr. 1 Adam 12, back again, buddy. It's been like a month and a half since I saw you last here, but I mean only a day since I saw you last in general. So how you doing, man? How you doing since yesterday?
It's good. When we last spoke, the snow just started. And tonight and tomorrow, we're supposed to get a blizzard here in the East Coast. So I don't know. The snow never leaves.
Never
I know
leaves.
In Canada, you understand that all very well.
Well, you know what, though? I got really lucky. So last week I was traveling back east, like East Coast Canada, to visit my family back there. I haven't seen them in a couple months. And normally they're getting like devastated with snow. Whereas here in Calgary, it's always really cold, but it's not always the snowiest. And they'd been getting hit really hard. I go back. No snow at all, 5 degrees. It was amazing. I come back to Calgary and it was minus 35 and just like so frigid it took the air out of my chest as I got off the plane. So it was like it's been a wild winter, right? And February for me always feels like the longest month of the year, even though it's the shortest. I don't know what it is. It's like, and it is what it is. So, but dude, I'm happy you're staying warm and try to stay safe if you're out on the roads, because driving in the snow, kind of shitty.
Not fun.
Not fun. Not fun. Good to see you back, buddy. We got a couple great panelists here. Of course, one of our longtime panelist guests here, previously Only Fools and Collecting, and it's been revamped. We've got Aaron Articulates now on Only Fools and Collecting, but the mainstay of the show, let's bring him out here. We got Mr. Pete. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you back, man. Thanks for coming in.
Good, thanks. Yeah, how you guys?
Hey, Pete.
Good.
Hi.
Really good, dude. Really good.
Yeah, OFAC is back, although there's an inside job to try and sabotage the first episode, which we can talk about in a bit. But yeah, we bounced back from that, and hopefully the last episode is still available.
That's right. Aaron Articulates in the chat says, nearly forgot the show existed. Started wondering if your streams started being deleted too. Yeah, if you know, you know. So basically what happened, I guess, Pete, your very first stream, Zach somehow deleted that, eh? Like it got all kind of messed up. It looked like you were still live, but then you weren't live, so he went to delete it.
First time back since August last year. Revamp 2.0. First show, Aaron as my new co-host. And yeah, it's the lost episode. We dreamed that one day someone might have, recorded it or something. It will turn up. It will get remastered.
the lost files of Only Fools and Click.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
So if you're
I'm stoked.
One of the lucky few that saw it live, then we'll always have 117.
111. I was thinking about Classy Thomas the other day because after I heard that story, it reminded me of an episode where he talked about a very sultry scene in a Thanos comic book that got the episode immediately of Let's Get Nuts immediately stricken from YouTube, and I had to delete the whole thing in order to get rid of its existence.
Wow.
And so
okay, well,
it was the same thing. it sucked. It was a really great episode of Let's Get Nuts. He just happened to be off the cuff and say slightly the wrong thing for the algorithm to flag us. And so
it's a badge of honor then. So glad to.
It is. It is.
That, yeah.
100%. This is episode 89. It technically would have been episode 90, but that's the way she goes. It's the way she goes. So
That's like the lost episode there.
You even struck the number, friend. So we kept the number in because I thought
struck the number.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. We kept the number. So I
episode 2. People are like, "Where's episode 1?" Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Hell yeah, man. Oh yeah, well, good to have both of you guys back here. Of course, we've got one more panelist in the back of the house here today. It wouldn't be a live stream return on Let's Get Nuts without him, so we got him here. Dave, Mr. X-Men Supreme, welcome back, good sir. Happy to have you back here, buddy. Oh, look at that party balloons.
Oh, it float.
That's pretty dope. How's things going, man? It's been a couple of weeks since we saw you last.
Yeah, the clowns are out.
Clowns are out.
It's good to see y'all, man. It's
Oh,
nuts
yeah, man.
already. Oh, whoa.
It's nuts already. Yeah, at least they were balloons and not nuts floating on strings. That would have been weirder. So that's for sure. That's
Ew.
for sure.
Well, not
Guys,
us do
but
next
yeah.
time.
Right. Guys, we got a great show for everybody here today. To my panelists, thanks for being back. Thanks for sticking with us there through the hiatus. The intention is always to have a show every Sunday, but sometimes life just gets in the way. But I'm happy to be back with these boys. So, guys, let's get into our first warm-up topic because I definitely want to get into the 6-scale side of the news today. And we're going to keep our entertainment news a little bit shorter. So for those who are here with us, stick through it and enjoy the conversation. We'd love to have you guys put in some chats, of course, in the chat box there for us. Let's talk quickly about the Olympics because the Olympics are a big thing right now. A lot of people watching them, if and when you can. This is the first year for me in a long time that I've actually had cable television, or the ability anyways to actually tune in to them, but I'm getting it right now through my Crave subscription, oddly enough. But I was curious for you guys. Obviously there's the winter games and then there's the summer games. I was wondering if you guys liked a specific sport the most. Like, what would be the one that you would tune in for if it was regards to the Olympics? Because there's just so much going on with it. There's no way you can catch it all. But for me, it's got to be hockey, right? I mean, to shout out the Canadian team today. Unfortunately, they got silver. The Americans. I mean, if you guys are Americans in the chat, you guys are probably very excited about your gold medal. I was devastated.
46 years, so it's about time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But hockey is definitely the one that I tune in for, whether it's the female teams or the male teams. Those guys absolutely rock it. But honorable note. I watched a ski jumping thing yesterday, and this guy crashed on the hill, and it was devastating to watch. So hopefully that guy turned out okay. But yeah, I think it's hockey. I think it's hockey for me. What about you, Adam? Is there any particular Olympics that you'd like to tune into more, whether it's winter or summer games? Is there an event that gets you excited?
I'm probably it seems maybe somewhat of an anomaly. I'm actually a pretty big sports fan in terms of the community. But I'm a Major League Baseball and NFL football fan. I didn't really tune in that much to this year's Olympics. Not as big of an Olympic fan. Definitely certainly hockey. Very excited about. I'm sorry. Sorry, Ben, about the hockey team. But you guys had a great run for a number of years. You had our number for a while. But as Pete said, 46 years. I actually remember the 1980 Olympic Games and the American defeat of the Soviets in that games. I live near Lake Placid, so that was huge. My dad went to that game, and it was it's hard to compare to that game because that was the height of the Cold War, and there was so much riding on that game. So that was very memorable to me. The other thing I remember very well is the 1992 basketball the American Dream Team with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. I mean, the greatest assemblage of basketball players ever in history. And that was just incredible. I remember having that poster with the Dream Team on my bedroom wall. So, but overall, I'm not a huge. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm just more of a baseball and NFL football fan.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. Totally fair. Well said. You inspired a memory for me actually in saying so, because I'm pretty confident it was the Olympics anyways. Donovan Bailey back in the day running. I think it was was it the 100 meter? But anyways, I remember that most specifically because back in the day before internet, whenever I would try to study for a project on something I didn't know, we had this computer disk which was basically like an encyclopedia, and in the encyclopedia it had different information but also like random videos and stuff like that. And in that encyclopedia game disc that I could put on my Windows 95 computer at the time, it had the
Windows
Donovan
95.
Bailey race. Yeah, exactly. So weird unlocked memory there, but for sure. Before I go to you, Pete, I wanted to highlight a comment here from IYN Carter. Says, Ben, how does it feel to know that your marketplace posts are not getting sold? Interesting that he knows that much about me. I would say it sucks, if I'm honest. I've had a couple of figures posted on Facebook Marketplace. Nothing's selling. The resale market is so soft. So it's getting to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to give them away. I might as well just keep them. It's the Arkham Asylum Joker in a straitjacket in his chair. That's the one that I got on there. And I've got the Days of Future Past Wolverine on there, which I thought would sell pretty quick, but it's been sitting there as well. And then the Sideshow Crow figure. So if any of you guys watching in the community really wants that figure, I'll definitely cut you a deal, or I'll just give it to that guy on Marketplace and call it a day. So what about you, Pete? Any Olympic events stand out for you? Summer, winter?
Funny enough, like this winter one, I hadn't seen more than about 2 minutes of anything. But I just happened to turn the TV on today, and Hockey Go was on. So I think they were in the third already. So I watched that. That was good. Enjoyed that. And I was a partisan supporter, so I didn't have any skin in the game. I was happy, happy for the US because I hadn't done it for 46 years. The documentary on Netflix was really good about the miracle in Haiti.
That's outstanding. Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, really good. Me, I'm more of a summer guy. I love track and field. I think if I had to, and it's a bit of a cheat maybe, but if I had to pick an event, decathlon, because I think I grew up with Daley Thompson. He smashed it in '84. I think he won another one that was 80 or 88. I don't know which way round it was. And then he had the devastating one where his pole snapped. He was winning it, and then he dropped out. And but it's just, to me, is the ultimate kind of display of ultimate kind of sports prowess to do 10 events over 2 days. So yeah, decathlon. But yeah, 92 I think was very fond memories for me because it was Barcelona. You had the fantastic Freddie Mercury and Montserrat Caballé tune that was played out when the footage started. And that summer I was 17, so I just finished school year, and my parents went away all summer, so my friend just came over, and for the whole whatever it is, 2.5 weeks, we just watched everything. So we just put our sleeping bags down in the sitting room, came on at 8 in the morning, just watched it all, watched everything. It was brilliant, absolutely loved it. Never had the opportunity to do that again because real life gets in the way and everything. But yeah, 92 was a great experience.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. King Dingling in the chat here says, not sure about the curling. What's up with Canada and the cheating? Seems odd. Why cheat? I've heard that through a Facebook post today, but I haven't actually seen that round, so I don't know how that would have been the case.
Brits got silver in that.
Did they? Yeah. I think it's crazy to me that with all the modern technology and everything, though, that any cheating, if that happened, could even happen, or bad referee calls. A lot of the hockey games had terrible referees, and it's guys, when I get it for an OHL game or an NHL game, something along those lines, you get the shit refs, but when it comes to countries winning medals for this stuff, it blows me away that they don't have the best of the best referees and camera footage to make sure shit doesn't like that happen. Because at that point, if they did cheat and they still got an award, I mean, I guess it's past now, right? What are you gonna do? So kind of crazy. X-Men, what do you think, buddy? Anything that stands out to you in terms of the Olympic Games, whether it's past memories or exciting sports that you looking forward to?
The only past memory I have of an Olympic anything was '08, the Beijing Olympics, only because I was in Hong Kong and I was like, it'd be nice to go, but it's like 1,000 miles away, and I'm here for a week. so, that's it. But I do love the absurdity of curling.
Hell yeah.
I love how like someone said, let's just sweep ice. Let's make that an Olympic event. I love how ridiculous that sounds.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I never appreciated curling until I did it as like a high school elective sport at one point, where we got to leave class and actually go do these sporting events. And I really enjoyed playing curling. It was actually way more fun. And like you said, you can yell at people to sweep ice.
It sounds like it would be very intense on your shoulders though. Like I remember being on the ship, we had the non-skin surfaces on the decks and we had to sweep with the long push brooms. We'd have to sweep with them, like actually move them because you couldn't push them because they get stuck.
Yeah.
And it's the same motion, more or less. I have to imagine that is very trying on your upper body when you're not used to doing it. So there is certainly some athleticism there, but it still sounds ridiculous.
And Ben, you Canada can lay claim to the arguably the most infamous Olympian of all time, Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
88 Seoul Olympics, yeah.
Because his name was Ben, so it was ultra, spicy, really, when you think about it. Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said, guys. Well said. And you guys, if you're watching on the replay, let us know in the chat as well. What sporting event in the Olympics do you look forward to most when it comes up? Whether it's winter, summer, do you have an event specifically? And did your team win any medals this year that you were excited for? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys, for sure. Let's keep warming up, though, in the vein of 6 scale and really just collecting in general. Adam mentioned this to me the other day, that he had this as a warm-up idea because, it's been a little bit slow lately with the Hot Toys news, up until about 2 days ago, where we had the birth of reissues again, and we're going to talk about that later. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, the question that Adam posed to me was, Ben, what have you been really collecting lately? Has there been anything else that you've been excited about bringing into your sphere of nostalgia? And so I'll start with you on this one, Adam, because I need to think about it a little bit. If I'm honest, I put the question in here today and hadn't given myself much time. Tell us what you've been collecting lately, good sir, whether it's 6 scale or outside the box.
Just looking at an image you posted there of it looks like a massacre of random action figures, and I can tell you I have a lot of those. And I've collected a lot of those since when I was a kid. I see some Smurfs in there, Ninja Turtles, a lot of stuff.
Power Rangers.
None of those.
Yeah,
none of those actively collect.
Star Wars guys.
But I definitely had them. Listen, I've like a lot of people in the community. I've been collecting since I was a kid, and I took a little bit for towards high school because girls didn't necessarily think that was a good thing, and my priority was getting girls. And then I realized that was stupid, that I could just find a girl that doesn't care. And I went back to collecting again. So right now, I've been collecting Hot Toys for a little over 3 years. And before that, Marvel Legends Black Series. I stopped the Marvel Legends Black Series and just exclusively Hot Toys. But one of my favorite toys when I was a kid is the Transformers. You can see I'm wearing the Autobot logo on my hoodie here. And I've had a few Transformers over the years. So I picked this up recently. This is a 3-0 Optimus Prime G1. And so this is and I had a couple of other Transformers in my case, but that was my gateway drug for other Transformers that I started to get. Starscream.
Nice.
Bumblebee. So, and
decent.
Jazz. So you see, I'm and of course, I gotta do the voice. Me Grimlock. Me let's get nuts.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
So now I'm down the rabbit hole of getting Transformers, and I have more coming. The good thing about there are some very expensive ones, like this one here is some Sideshow. This is a 3-0. This is metal. Mostly die-cast.
Looks sick.
But these other ones that are Hasbro are not die-cast, but they look very much like the 1986 animated Transformers the movie, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary. So kind of my goal is to the beauty of this is that unlike Hot Toys are just kind of ongoing, or 1/6 figures in general, there's kind of a finite thing. Like I want to get many of the characters, not all of them, from that Transformers movie or the G1 Transformers. Not really interested in the Bayverse stuff, just the ones when I was a kid. So that's kind of on like my side hustle thing, I guess, of collecting. That's what I'm doing right now. Besides the 1/6.
Awesome. How do you like display those? So like obviously that's a huge influx of new things, and you've got a pretty like filled out collection room as it is. Like when you start bringing those things in, are you thinking about display, or are you thinking more about just collecting it first and you'll figure it out later?
Both. So well, we're in the process right now. We're probably going to be moving in the next year and a half. So I'm still putting stuff out on display, but realizing that in a few months I'm going to have to pack it away. So I am thinking about the future collection room, which will hopefully be a little more space than I have now. But the other piece is I have a case here where that's not 1/6. Well, there's a couple of 1/6, like old Sideshow figures, and it's just some random stuff. So some of the old Sideshow figures are getting bottom shelved to make room for the Transformers.
That's fair. And one last shout out. You just sent a video posting today of Batman. It looks like you got in your display. Or in your collection. You want to tell us about that quick?
Yeah, it's just did an unboxing of the Hot Toys Dark Knight Returns. I mean, that is an awesome figure. Dark Knight Returns, I think a seminal graphic novel from 1986. One of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Just rewatched the animated movie. Peter Weller from RoboCop does the voice of Batman. Yeah. It's very good, very faithful to the. I recommend it if you don't want to sit down and read the graphic novel. It's very faithful to the graphic novel. So I got the Batman, and it's awesome figure. Actually, Hot Toys has really killed it this past year with Batman figures. Really good. How's
the cape on it, Adam? Because they're notoriously bad with capes, aren't they?
This is one of the best Batman capes they've done. And it's a wired cape, and there's also they did a nice job. It's they kind of put some like grit into the cape and his boots. Yeah, and a really good figure. And the great fit. You know, sometimes Hot Toys and some of these alternate face plates that they've done with Batman, they've been kind of. These ones are good face plates.
Cool, very very cool. Quick shout out to our buddy, Mr. Valkyrie Magnus. Dude, thank you so much for $9.99 super chat, dude. Thank you so much for your generosity as always. Eric's saying he's not feeling good today, which is why we don't even have him on the show. So, dude, I hope you feel better, man, as a result. Hopefully the show makes you smile at the very, very least. And let's give you here one of these, bud. Appreciate you.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Thanks so much for that, Eric. I really appreciate you, buddy. And definitely, again, please feel better. And so we can see you back here pretty soon, of course. Before you go, Pete, I would say, lately for me,
I'm not going anywhere.
It's been
funny.
No, man, go on your chair. You're like, really?
That's what you think.
Charming. You must get rid of me already.
I would say it's Lego for me that it's been inspiring again lately. I've been taking more trips back into the Lego store once again. I did get the Lego Deku tree for Christmas and the Star Trek Enterprise, and so it's been catching my attention again. I have like a ton of Lego minifigures. I think the last time I counted it was over 350. That's definitely what got me into collecting characters individually. I would go and buy the sets literally just for the figures, and then I started collecting 6 scale shortly after that, and I had to move away from Lego for a period of time. But I'm still definitely surrounded by a lot of Lego, some NECA, some of the old Playmates Star Trek figures, of course, and then all the 6 scale now. So what about you, Pete? What's governing your collection room? And Adam, if you had something before it goes.
Yeah, go on, Adam.
No, I was just gonna say, you mentioned going to the Lego store, and last week I actually went on my first toy hunt I've gone in years. I went to Target and GameStop and Walmart as well, just gonna Transformers. And I know a lot of stuff can get on Amazon or wherever, but part of it I just wanted to get some steps in. It's been trapped in the house with the snow, but it was cool, just looking around, and haven't done it in a while. Sorry to interrupt.
So I'm still.
Oh,
Oh, you're
no
good.
worries.
I'm still toy hunting for DC Direct, like Batman the Animated Series figures. So whenever they come out with a new line, I'm usually looking in the Facebook groups for 12-inch Moose Stream, because he usually will mention it first if something pops up for the new wave. So keep posting, Moose, if you're listening, buddy, because I'm always watching for that. But anytime those figures come up, I go and get another 3 or 4 of those every time, and it's getting to be quite the display of those characters now. I love it. So what about you,
Nice.
Pete? Where what surrounds you in terms of nostalgia?
Well, just to say, on the 1/6 scale, very happy last weekend to receive probably, for my collection, the longest pre-order I've ever had open. 2 months short of 3 years, which was the Mars Toys Chocolate Man and Dwarf, the Willy Wonka and Oompa Loompa. And it's
Heck yes!
absolutely
So happy you got it
fantastic.
finally, dude.
So
Hell yeah.
good, absolutely brilliant. And the value you're getting for, I think it was just under £200 here, so what, $250, something like that. You're getting 2 figures, loads of accessories and everything, and I think and 3 heads, 2 with hats, 1 without. I think they've absolutely smashed it. It was a long wait, but yeah, absolutely worth it. So I've got to find room to put him somewhere, because he doesn't really go with anything else. So I kind of he's just on my sort of coffee table behind me at the moment. But I've got to find him a forever home. But brilliant that. Good that you mentioned Lego. I don't know if anyone else has picked up the recent Speed Champions Back to the Future DeLorean that they put out. Great model. Doesn't have the gull wing doors at that scale, but that's fine. So I actually picked up 3 of them, because the set you can do part 1, part 2, and then I thought, let's do a part 3. So I picked up a part 3, did some modifications, put the train wheels on it and the tracks, a little diorama. So Lego always brings me back in, and those DeLoreans are great. So I've got like
I think my brother got that one, Pete.
Yeah.
Pete, and it looked
and it's
freaking
like
awesome.
$20 or something, like, or 20 pounds here. So brilliant. Yeah. So I've got, and I made the the figures. So I managed to get the part 2 figures, just someone was making knockoffs, and then the part 3 I just kind of kit bashed them from other figures and things like that. So I've got a nice sort of display with the part 1, then part 2 levitate, hovering, and then part 3 on the tracks with the train wheels. So I love those. Lego always brings me back in, and lucky it doesn't take up too much space, because I don't have any space left, and I've already got some really big Lego pieces. So I'll never tire of picking up Lego. I nearly picked up the F40 Ferrari F40 Speed Champions the other day, and I thought no, just stop. But good set.
If I had all the collection space in the world, I'd get as much Lego as humanly possible. I just have a hard time displaying it in a classy way. I think that's the hardest part. And I like some of what you've done. Like, I've seen you have like your setups on the wall. Even my Enterprise, I've been looking at
the Batwing, on the wall.
Yeah, they've got some custom displays where you can like hang the Enterprise up on the wall with like a Enterprise D, kind of, what I call it, like art piece in behind it, and that looks pretty cool. But some of those are like $200 or $300. I'm like, oh man, like that's steep. But and I just recently lit it with brick lights.
I love lighting up my stuff. Yeah,
wildly come to life.
Brings it to life
for sure. Oh yeah, man! And congrats on the Chocolate Man. Shout out to our buddy Jedi Knights Watch as well. Can watch his podcast on Wolfpack Wednesdays, one of my favorite shows of the week for sure. But he just posted that he got that video, or that figure as well, and did a video on it. So if you want another closer look as well, that thing looked pretty freaking awesome. X-Men, I feel like the only other thing you collect are Wolverines. Tell me if I'm wrong, buddy. What have you gone after over the last couple of years, or during the slow time for Hot Toys?
Yeah, I've been kind of working on arranging things more to make sense, like redoing a lot of my displays. But also, I've been, while doing that, working on getting like effect pieces, like this little guy right here. Friggin' I found this joint where I could get effects for like certain figures, and I found this for Jubilee.
That looks that looks awesome.
It's great, dude. It's exactly what I wanted. I didn't even know it existed until I started like looking, and I found this dude that does effects for like 12 scale figures. But this fits so perfectly with my 6 scale Jubilee that I had to get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it on Etsy or something?
No, it's a dude on eBay. His name's Can of Beans. Beam as in S-beam, not bean as in can of refried beans.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of effect pieces like for Daredevil, for Gambit, all in 12 scale. But sometimes like this right here works really well for some 6 scale figures.
That's pretty cool.
So I got very lucky with that. And looking for other like enhancers, I found myself a little operation game.
Nice.
That I plan to give to Deadpool. That'll be fun.
Very nice.
It actually works. It has little friggin'
Awesome.
How do you open this thing again? It has little earth, if I can figure it out. Oh, here we go. It has the bob on here where you got the little dudes.
That's freaking wild.
And you got the tongs and they actually do the thing.
Oh, they actually work, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah, it actually works. It's really cool. But
the girl I'm seeing collects minis, and they come in like these like spherical balls. You can get them from like GameStops or Walmart's, Toys R Us, some of those types of things.
Like the ones that Hatter did.
Yeah, and they're like some of them are really decent quality. Right now I've got a box of Eggo minis in with my Deadpool on top of his television set that I've got.
Hell yeah, dude.
And they like you can open up the box and they literally have like little Eggo like waffles in there and everything. It's like they're crazy details.
That's sick.
Things, so.
I gotta get some of those, man. That's fun. Yeah. That's fun as hell.
Keep an eye out for it. For it. But guys, that's awesome. I feel warmed up. 30 minutes in, we got about 31 folks here. We're going to say hi to the chat here in a couple minutes. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. Getting nuts with us on Sunday. Let us know if you guys are collecting anything, especially during the downtime here with Hot Toys, or honestly, just what do you like to collect in life? I'd love to hear from you guys as always. But some cool, good news really quickly. I've talked to you about some of this. Or to some of you about this already, so I apologize if this is repeated information, but I did have a really exciting Ben Thomas Show announcement. So in December, I was contacted by a company called Pocket.Watch, and I'd never heard of this company before, and they reached out to Zach at Collecting Weekly, they reached out to Fern at Collecting Weekly, and a couple other people trying to get a hold of me, and I honestly thought they were scammers. I thought they were trying to get my information or they were trying to get access to me for some nefarious reason. So I didn't respond right away. And these folks kept being very, very persistent. And so I finally responded to the messages and basically said, like, look, what do you want? Why are you trying to get a hold of me? And they were looking for my business manager, wanting to know if the channel had like a lawyer or a business manager associated with it. I said, no, obviously my channel's pretty small. It's still just me. Why? And they said that they wanted my Hot Toys video for Predator Badlands, and that they represent a company that essentially, connects digital content creators with platforms like Disney Plus and Netflix for their content. And the idea is that ultimately, Disney Plus wants to have a section in the US on their US branch of something called creator content. And in the creator content last month was Lilo and Stitch content, and they were trying to appeal to more adults. And with the release of Predator Badlands on their streaming platform in February, they wanted to connect creators basically with their individual content to the movie itself. And so once again, thought it was way too good to be true. I was like, there's no way. My channel's so small. Like, how did you find my stuff? Like, I don't believe this at all. I made the guy vet himself through LinkedIn. I made him do a FaceTime video call with me, a bunch of other vetting factors. I even had his company Pocket.Watch reach out to me directly to kind of say, no, it's a legitimate thing. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ryan's Toys, but he's a younger Asian kid who like has now got like 12 million followers and like does all this stuff with toy reviews, and so they represent him as well. And so again, thought it was a little too good to be true, but said, hey, you know what, if I don't have to sign over the rights to my channel, if I don't have to sign over the rights to the video. If all it is just like fair use kind of play, then sure, yeah, you can have it. And they offered me a little bit of money for the video in order to do it, and they didn't have to make any significant changes to it. Basically, they could just add it to the platform. 50 videos were submitted, and only 15 were selected. And I found out last week on the I wanted to say on the Enterprise, on my way getting off of an airplane, that my video was selected.
They paid you a lot of money if you're flying around in the Enterprise.
Yeah, no doubt, right? So they selected the video, and so if you have Disney Plus US, unfortunately you can't see it in Canada or any other country at the moment, it's only on Disney Plus USA, then you can type in Ben Thomas in Disney Plus and the video will pop up for you. So go give it a watch, guys, if you can. It would be cool to get a little more traction on it. I'm happy to report that it was a legitimate deal, but one of the reasons I wanted to highlight it was mostly because I'm excited for us and our community of folks, right? Like anybody who gets a chance to stream with me, whether it's through Collecting Weekly or the Wolfpack Wednesday guys, or like Will Foxificate, any of those guys, anybody who has given me a platform over the years to talk about Hot Toys, it inspired me to continue to make these videos and to get that connection point. And I think as of right now, I'm the only Hot Toys YouTube person who's even talked about it on Disney Plus. And so as a result, they're now connected to us to a certain extent. They will be watching more content from us all going forward, and it feels kind of like a win for us all. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the channel, but I'm also excited for us. So go and give it a watch, guys, if you get a chance. So it's pretty cool.
Congratulations, Ben.
Yeah,
So it's always I always like to see good people succeed, and you're a great person. So congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If the mouse starts trying to pay me off, though, guys, I promise I'll keep it real. Okay, I won't let it happen. So Dave would,
but
Dave
I do
would
got
not
to
let me
ask.
get away with it.
Can you give us the spoilers on Doomsday?
I cannot give any
Did they-
spoilers
did they
on
give you the-
Doomsday.
Did they give you
Unfortunately,
the Doomsday
they haven't-
spoilers?
They haven't given me any Doomsday spoilers. There's no press badge. You hate to see it. So, but I will get a chance to submit more videos going forward, which is cool because now I have an ongoing contract with Pocket Watch. So, yeah, if they have more content down the line, like if it ends up being successful with the creator content, then more videos might show up. So,
You're gonna see a Ben Thomas video playing on a computer screen in the background during Doomsday.
Doomsday. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. All right, guys, let's move on with the news. But yeah, thank you for the flowers from everybody who's mentioned it. This is what it looks like on the screen if you're searching it up. Very, very cool. Go give it a watch, though. I would definitely appreciate y'all for that. I want to say hi, of course, to all of our chat members here, as we always do. And of course, StreamYard's moved all my buttons. Here it is. Let's go. Let's say hi to everybody.
Is that everyone? I can put it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. We've got first chat of the day, 6 Scale Mafia, our buddy Anthony. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I caught your live stream on Saturday night, which was really, really good. He says, guess my membership lapses. Have a good show, dude. He re-signed up for his membership. You love to see it. I kept you on there either way, just in case, man. No worries. We got Thor Gaming, my brother, in the chat saying, happy Sunday, Ben. Good to see you, buddy. We got Mr. Trevor Weed here as well. Hello, Nuts. You love to see it. Guys, by the way, you might notice here on my Classy Nuts slide that I've now got 2 people here, NW Collector and OU812C1. I don't know who you guys are because it's not showing me your original YouTube names anymore. So like Trevor Weed here, it says his Usum Kissane. I know that's Trevor Weed, but only because of his picture, I don't know what some of you guys' names are. So if you become a channel member and you end up in this name here, like this name functionality, or like kind of like way it's written, I apologize. Please let me know in the chat who NW Collector is or was, if you've changed your name, and who OU812 is, and I will change your name on the screen. But Trevor Nuts, good to see you, buddy. Christopher, or Curtis, I should say, Curtis Booth says, "Hey Ben, hope you're doing great." He says hockey now belongs to him, so you hate to see that, buddy. You hate to see that. We got Dream and Visions here with us. Good to see you, my friend. With a Batwing, you love to see it. We got Figure It Out Reviews. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, my friend. King Dingaling, of course, wouldn't be a chat without you. You've got 12-inch Moose Stream. Hello, community of collectors. I did my first YouTube live stream yesterday. Check me out. I saw that yesterday, buddy. That was funny. So good job. Keep it going with Mr. Feezy as well in there. I saw with you. We got Aaron Articulates, of course. Make sure you go over and subscribe to Mr. Aaron Articulates on YouTube. Very, very funny content and very kind dude, of course. Mr. One Adam 12 here on the channel and in the panel with us as well. Of course, we got Jay Collects Z80X. He says, "Hi, what do you guys think of the new cap? I've got it on pre-order. If you stick around, dude, we are going to be talking about it here in 2 figures from now. So stick around. We'll definitely chat about it for sure." Mr. Jim Collector, good evening, everyone. Good to see the show back. Dude, it was great to see you yesterday, you and Vita, of course, on Meso Menos on the 16Fix YouTube channel and Jose Plus YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys know this, spoiler, but I was in a Shark Tank battle, and my figure that I posed up against Vita was Kill Bill Beatrix Kiddo. I'm not going to tell you the outcome. If you didn't see it, go watch that video after the show, but it was one heck of a battle.
What was it up against?
It was up against Maximus from Gladiator. So
nice.
it was an epic battle. Yeah, Beatrix versus Maximus. Who would you choose? Go and take a watch on that later if you guys get a chance. And I'll post the link on that as well at the end of the show here. We got Her Geeky Side, aka Vita, of course. Good evening, all. Hit that like button. Let's get nuts. Good to see you, my friend. Glad to compete against you, of course, yesterday there. We got Valkyrie Magnus in the chat with us as well. Good to see you, buddy. X-Men Supreme in the channel and on the panel. Love to see it there. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Let's see. I think that's almost everybody. Bane, USA, baby. You hate to see it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad, happy for you guys. Debase Mandel, he says, "I love to attend my..." Keeping us in suspense. I have no idea. Big Poser. Okay. Oh no, it's not. NW. If you're still in the chat, tell me.
Oh, that's Larry Walker.
Name. Larry Walker. Okay. Yeah. I was so confused because I thought I lost L Walker on the thing, and that's why I'd taken him out, and I was sad about that. So I'm glad you knew that. X-Men. Hell yeah. Charleston Jew says, "I see the Batman, the animated series, Mr. Freeze down there near the lower middle. Get him out of there. Dust him off. Display him proper." He is a great figure. Definitely a great figure. Mr. Peter Cass here on the channel and in the panel. We got Salt, the designer. Mr. Sal was on the show yesterday with him as well over there on Meso Menos. Awesome dude. That was my first time having a chance to hang out, and I have invited him to come in on Let's Get Nuts down the line. So if you get a chance, buddy, let us know when you're free on a Sunday, and we'll definitely bring you in here as well. Guys, thanks for being here as always. Let's move on with the show. I want the first topic question today, guys, to be kind of in combination with the news from J&D of their newest Harry Potter. The question for us here is this: how does price affect your judgment for collecting? And the reason I mentioned price specifically is, of course, J&D Studios has given us a look at their new Harry Potter figure. And I would say objectively, it doesn't look terrible, but for some reason he looks a little on the Asian side. There's something going on with his mouth shape or like his facial expression. There's something there. He looks a little Asian. It's odd in my opinion. But one of the biggest drawbacks from what I've seen from J&D up till this point has not necessarily even been the likeness or the figure quality. It's definitely been the price, the point of entry, right? And for me, and I've seen a lot of collectors say this, doesn't matter how good J&D is, for that price it either needs to be perfect or it's no dice. And I would say for me this figure is not perfect. They definitely need to dial this in. Now I don't know exactly even where the price point's going to kind of come out on this one at this point yet, but I'd be curious for you guys, how does price affect your judgment of collecting, whether it's a J&D, whether it's 6 scale figures like Hot Toys or In Art, or even the smaller scale stuff now that seems to be kind of going up in price as well, right? Like we talked about Lego and we talked about some of those other collectibles this morning. Adam, first and foremost, good sir, how does price affect your judgment with regards to collecting?
Oh, I think unless you're Lex Luthor or Tony Stark and have unlimited funds, then price certainly would affect and having a budget for what you spend on these luxury items and these toys. It's got to impact. For me, I saw a few years ago the Marvel Legends and Black Series costs were going up and up, and it's sometimes, as much as I was saying it's fun to go on a toy run, it got to be frustrating sometimes, because I remember trying to look for a Captain America Endgame Marvel Legends. It was a Walmart exclusive that had Mjolnir, and anytime you get something that's a Walmart exclusive, lots of luck to you, because the distribution is terrible. And somewhere's like Boise might be drowning in these figures, but here in Saratoga, New York, we get bupkis, and maybe one scalper gets it. So you're paying like $80, $90 on eBay if you want to be a completist to get this figure. But just your basic figures were going up and up. So, and the quality wasn't necessarily there. So I decided, you know what? It's certainly more money for Hot Toys, but I shifted to Hot Toys because I wanted a higher level of figures. In terms of something like a J&D, I'm not sure this is something that's for me. Certainly I'm not into Harry Potter, but just even the things that they have produced that I am into, like Dark Knight trilogy, I think that's for someone who's got, FU money to spend. And, and if you got FU money, okay. I liken it to, I drive a Honda. I drive a Honda CRV. Now, some people will drive a Porsche a Porsche SUV. I don't got Porsche SUV money. I got Honda money, and I'm fine with that. Okay. And if you drive a Porsche, God bless you. So if you want to spend money on J&D, enjoy.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. Trevor says, price is a big factor, but I'm willing to pay more for figures that look great or for characters that I love. That's somewhere in between for me as well, dude. Because I would say, like, when I'm looking at a J&D piece like this, for example, for the price it says, Trevor says it's $600. For $600, like, to me, it has to be perfect. Like, it has to be like a shockingly realistic representation of the character. And I have to love it, and there has to be some of those other factors, but it has to be like damn near like, wow, that's perfect. Because I don't want to have to buy it again down the line when they ultimately make another option, right? Like, if you're going to spend that kind of money, I want it to be, buy nice or buy twice, one and done, that's it. But then I look at things like I've paid for in-art, for example, whereas like I'm willing to wait for certain characters. Like I'm still hoping that in-art gives us a Dark Knight Christian Bale Batman suit at some point, because I still haven't been totally happy with the Hot Toys representations, and so I haven't bought any of those. I've been kind of slowly and hopefully waiting out for a figure that's likely going to cost more, but hopefully would then nail it, right? And so for me, that's usually where my judgment's affected. On the smaller scale, though, like you said, Adam, I agree with you. Like I mentioned earlier, I get really excited about the Batman animated series figure lines popping up, but every time they show up to the store, I think, shit, that's another $120 to $150 I'm now needing to cough up to get these, even though I know I want them. But it's like it's a debate within myself, because I'm like, do I really need it? Could I wait a couple weeks? Well, what if they're gone by then and FOMO takes over? But the price is a deterrent. If they were cheaper, it'd be an easier buy, because the rising costs are hitting us all. It makes it a harder pill to swallow. What do you think, Pete, when regards to, how does price truly affect your judgment in collecting, and what are your thoughts on this figure here from J&D?
Yeah, I think to kind of jump on Adam's comment, I'm certainly, I'm grateful that I have a reasonably comfortable life, a fairly decent paying job, but I'm not rich by any means, and I do find myself having to think more about these figures, because they are, in real terms, have gone up far faster than wages have gone up and stuff like that. And obviously, it's not they are luxury items. The fact that we're sitting here talking about them right now, we are in a we're in a comfortable position in our lives, and obviously, but we're seeing the same trend with the price of food and everything now is unbelievable. So for the first time, probably this sort of starting into this year, I'm really kind of thinking, having to think harder about buying figures. And again, I'm in a fortunate place where I've been collecting for 15 years, I suppose. So my collection is pretty much where I want it to be. I mean, I'm out of space, but I've got most of the characters I want from the franchises I want. Yeah, there's always going to be the odd figure that comes out of left field. It's like, oh yeah, I can fit that in. But mostly, it's again, we're going to go on to 2.0s, but it's about if I can get a better version of a character or something like that, then I kind of fill those in. But then again, they're difficult to justify as well because of the price that's gone up. So yeah, I think some difficult decisions because I think in art, I've got two of the figures. I've got Aragorn and Legolas, and they're both phenomenal. And I think I had an Asmus Legolas, and I kept telling myself, I don't need the in art. I don't need the in art. But to be honest, I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. I've got my Fellowship of the Ring, Balin's Tomb diorama, and I just thought, well, actually, I want to have the best looking representation of these characters. So I went for it, and I wasn't disappointed. It didn't really come with a lot. And when you think about it, you think, oh well, I think that cost me £300 or just over £300. No, nearly 400. But then I thought to myself, well, actually, people were paying almost that to get the Asmus sculpts rooted, or custom sculpts rooted. So actually, when you look at it that way, they're not that bad value-wise. I would love to have the three Harry Potter kids that I've put out already, but I mean the aftermarket on those is ridiculous. The premium Harry is $1,000, £800. So sometimes you've got to say, actually, I'm never going to own those figures unless something, unless I suddenly come into a hell of a lot of money. There's figures that you just have to pass on, no matter how much you'd like to have them in your display.
Yeah.
So yeah, and obviously, I've got a fair few custom bits like Indian stuff, and I'm always sort of tempted to upgrade whips and stuff on those, and then it's like, oh well, can I afford it this month and stuff like that. We've had to do a few bits on the house and everything, so it's kind of things are probably as tight as they have been for the last few years. I've got a few pre-orders, but I think those sort of impulse buys where I just go online, Toys by an agent have got this figure in stock, bang, I'll have that. Those have kind of had to stop now. And just keep the pre-orders. I don't cancel pre-orders, so if I don't want it anymore, I pay it off and I'll sell it because you normally get your money back. I don't want to lose my NRDs, stuff like that. And it pisses off the. We all know that Kit can be a little bit spiky sometimes, so sometimes best to stay on his good side, pay off the figures, and then just move them on. So I've done that with a couple of things recently. Where this is the thing: if you're pre-ordering stuff and it's taking 2 years, your collection moves on, or you've done something else, you've got bored of waiting, and you've done a custom and everything. So it happens a little bit, and yeah. So yeah, I don't like the fact that it's kind of getting a little bit too much of a luxury. Although, as I say, I could stop tomorrow and I've got a lovely collection that I can enjoy for years. But I wouldn't want to miss the thrill of the chase and that new figure hit that you get. So yeah, slowing down, but still in it for now.
It's hard, right? Because I think for me, I'm with you on all of that. I've changed the way that I've been collecting over the last year a little bit because I was starting to cancel more NRDs than I'd like to admit because I was
that big
buying
one on
quickly.
that Joker.
Yeah, right. I was buying quickly, and then other things were coming up. I wanted more, and then I was running out of space, and then I started selling figures, and then figures weren't selling very well. So then I'm thinking, well, if I can't sell them, then I'm kind of stuck with them, which means, am I keeping figures in the box in the closet? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But then I'd canceled some pre-orders that then got released, that then I kind of wanted them again, right? And so but I've been wasting money as a result, and it definitely adds up more than I care to admit. The other piece of that, though, is that it's funny to me when it comes to price affecting judgment, because over all the years that I've been collecting, Pete, and you've probably seen this so many times yourself, where we even have these conversations on on our shows, like all the different channels that talk about this stuff, and you'll hear somebody say, oh, if it was 240, not 265, I'd get it. But, for 265, there's no way, right? And it's like, okay, but like, how badly did you really want it if only that extra $25 is the differentiating factor? How is that small price affecting your judgment so greatly? Or is that an excuse? Is that just a reason that you're giving yourself not to buy?
I think sometimes you have to give yourself a false reason.
You have to. You're
just
right.
To maintain control.
And I'm guilty of it too. I'm sure if you scrub enough of my videos, you'll hear me say something very similar at times, right? But it's true.
Dave would be really upset that the last figure that I did cancel and didn't pay was the shirtless Wolverine that I could see proudly displayed. And the only reason being is because I pre-ordered that. I missed out on the pre-order for the proper, the fully suited one. So I thought, oh well, I'll get the jacket one, and then obviously I managed to get hold of the full yellow and blue, and I thought I don't need another one, so I did let that one go. But is it a good? It looks great.
Oh, he's so great. Yeah. I love him so much. I'm so glad that they did that. But if you notice too, right behind my head here, I gave that jacket to Deadpool, and now he's a buddy cop in the TVA with nice. Loki. So they're
you can't put it on that
Deadpool and Loki on the case.
That's right.
What a waste that would be. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Before we go to Dave, Pete, what were your thoughts on this J&D Joker? Or J&D Joker? Oh my God, this J&D Harry Potter.
It's a Joker, all right.
No, not good. I can see what you were saying. I think he's a bit puffy in the cheeks as well.
This might be the most accurate representation of what this kid looks like a little bit. It's very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Well
said.
Said.
Exactly it.
Reviews. Yeah.
There you go. Dave, then we talked a little bit about price, whether it's smaller scale, larger scale, premium offerings, companies that want to be considered premium offerings like J&D, but don't necessarily earn that quite yet. And then, of course, there's other factors now, right? Like tariffs and some of those things that are creeping in. How does price affect your judgment for collecting, these days?
It saw me getting a lot less. That's for sure. I canceled a lot of figures over the last year, just because, like you say, and it always happens for everybody. Other stuff comes up, and you've been waiting for a while, and then ideas about your collection change. You go in a different direction, and maybe something that you were really excited about 6 months ago doesn't quite hit like it did. And those happen, I'm sure, for everybody. For me, it's been just about kind of focusing in on what's important to my collection. We hear a lot of people talking about making your collection look like yours, as opposed to everybody else's. And I was standing around last night looking at my collection. I was like, yeah, I have accomplished that more so in the last probably 2 years with the changes that I've made to my orders, because I've got more X-Men now. I've got more Wolverine now. I've got, more Batman now. And I've got, a little bit of Star Wars. My collection really does look like me at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of that comes down to just the stuff that I've decided not to keep and not buy because of the cost, because of the space, because of all of that. And My thoughts on J&D are no secret to anyone in the community. I look, if you've got that money and you just wanna, it's burning a hole in your pocket and you got to get rid of it, you go ahead and you buy that J&D piece. But don't pretend that you're doing it because it's superior.
Yeah.
It's there may be a couple of good ones I heard, and I've seen that Joker that they just recently put out, and that does look pretty good.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it is not so good that I need that over the Hot Toys Artisan.
Right.
It is not that good. So understand that it is a flex, and that is what it is. If you're happy with it, that's what matters. But don't pretend like there aren't better options.
I told you, Dave, that I saved what $1,200 Canadian from switching out of the J&D Joker to a custom head sculpt that, in my opinion, is night and day better than.
It's a good looking sculpt too.
Have you got it yet,
and
Ben?
It saved me money. I haven't. No, it's like literally should be next week. So
right, cool.
Cross fingers. As soon as I get it, I'll show you.
Been a long wait, buddy. Yeah,
it has been.
Yeah.
Has been. Sorry to cut you off there, Dave. But...
Oh no, I think the squeeze on the dollars, while it's not necessarily a good thing, I think it's kind of forced people to make better decisions
For sure.
in our collecting habits, which is a net positive, I think. I know I personally, I have lost around $600 in pre-order costs during the 4 years I've been collecting, and probably 3 times that much selling off pieces that just didn't make sense for me to have, that I was really excited about when they first came up, because the market sucks. So it's definitely important to weigh what something is worth, and the increase in costs and the decrease in quality in terms of materials and all of that just across the board. The lack of die cast and weaponry from Hot Toys, the lack of leather versus pleather, that whole debacle, all of those things have really forced us all, I think, to really look at what we're doing. And at the end of the day, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think the market for toys is hurting a bit. You can see it in the pre-orders. You look at something like Mondo, and Mondo can be a bit of a controversial topic depending on who you're talking to, but the cost for those was already pretty high, and then when the tariffs happen and all of that stuff, and then the prices start going up just as they would anyway, on top of that, you see less things being pre-ordered. Like, you look at the X-Men line has been pretty popular, and they're pretty deep in it now. Mr. Sinister came out for pre-order several months ago. He's been released, and he's still available. It's a limited order. Like, he's still available on their website. Beast was put up this Tuesday he was put up, and he's still available on their site. Beast, no one's made Beast except for, like, what was it, that weird third party that didn't quite look right from the movie. Like, it's definitely affecting the supply because the demand isn't there as much now. So I think we're long off from seeing the full effects of all of this, and I don't think those effects are going to be good as far as what offerings we're going to see in the future, but that might be better for our wallets anyway, so who knows.
Totally fair. Moose says Mondo is getting a too expensive animated Two-Face exclusive has sold out. Mondo is very pricey, definitely. I did see the Ghostbusters gal there though as well, which Janine playset, like, but $140 was a lot of money, that's for sure. Moose had also given us a member for 25 months super or chat anyways, membership perk bonus. Says, hi Ben Thomas, thanks for the shout out. Got my animated Bat Cave in, and I'm waiting on QMX Trek figs, and got 4 cheap ones. Please note, I'm more helpful to fellow panelists. There you go. I love to see it. Thanks for being a member for so long, Moose, for sure. Definitely appreciate, buddy. And actually, quick shout out to our members here as well. Everybody who is currently in green now has now surpassed 2 years as channel members. So huge shout out to all the folks there who have stuck it out for this long. Thank you so much for being channel members, and some of our Nut Kings, of course, are in that boat as well. But I wanted to keep you guys with the fancy Nut King writing as is tradition. So, but crazy to see how long people have been members for now. So I really, really appreciate you guys. Any other comments here I wanted to see? Just wanted to make sure. I think that's probably pretty good. Guys, let's keep moving on here because we've got some other things I want to chat about, and it's kind of in the same vein as price. But are 2.0s helping or hurting 6 scale collecting? And I'm going to put a poll here in our chat in a minute. You guys can let us know if it's helping or hurting. But let's chat about this a little bit, because the next couple of figures that we're going to take a look at today are all 2.0s technically from Hot Toys. And, you know, I've been collecting since about 2014. Well, actually a little bit sooner than that, around 2012, I think was my first. And so, you know, getting close anyways to 2 decades worth of collecting figures. I've seen wonderful improvements in both paint applications, sculpting, tailoring, bodies, like bases, magnets, eyes, like all of it, right? I mean, it's had some insane improvements. And when I started collecting, I used to fight with the vets at the time. You know, shout out to guys like John from Collecting Weekly back in the day when I started streaming with him and those boys. He and I used to fight about this on live stream because he would hate 2.0s and reissues, hated them. And I, as a new collector, had a hard time understanding why as much, because I thought, you know, like I get that, you know, the vet collectors don't want to lose value in their collections, and they, you know, they want to have what other people don't. That's the fun, you know, part of the fun of collecting. But what about all the new collectors that are joining now? Don't you want Hot Toys to stay relevant, or these companies to stay relevant and continue to be able to sell product in order to make money to give us more product, right? It's a churning machine. If they just did one and dones, when would they go out of business? Like eventually they would stop, right? Or they would stop appealing to newer generations of people who now have money in their pockets. And so at the time, I used to push back on that pretty hard. Now, fast forward 10 years, and I'm starting to think, well, there are figures that I feel like the 1.0s are still really great, and it was exciting to be one of the few that had that in my collection. And now seeing all these 2.0s coming up, it makes me feel like some of my collection is diminished and that I have to move things on. But like we've talked about in the show earlier today, the 2.0 reissue, or I should say the resale market, is soft as hell right now. Good luck selling something, especially if collectors get wind that a better version is coming down the line for a similar price. And so it's, you know, tanking figure values. You know, I think of the DX13 Terminator, for example, that at one point that thing was like, what, like $1,000 on the aftermarket. Now you can't give it away because the new one exists, right? Like, and so is or are 2.0s helping the 6 scale world of collecting, or is it hurting it? Because I can see arguments from both sides, but I'd be curious to rack your brains a little bit. And I might have more to say as you guys progress in your thoughts. But Pete, you've been collecting for a really long time. So let's start with yourself, buddy. What's your perspective been on 2.0s over all these years, and is it hurting or helping? And I'm going to put a poll in the chat for you guys as well.
I think personally, the only thing that hurts is my wallet occasionally when I feel the need to upgrade. I don't see any problem with it at all. I really hate the elitist side of the hobby, and you know, bearing in mind that Hot Toys have never done. They do limit their releases, but I don't know. I think until there's one figure they've just listed that is actually numbered, but they've never numbered them, you know, like they do with statues. And I think a lot of people had when I started collecting, a very snooty attitude to, well, I've got this figure, you're never going to get it. Agreed. Kind of thing. And that my opinion is worth more than yours because I've got, you know, this figure, this figure, this figure. These are the 5 best figures that you can get. So I own them, so my opinion counts more. And there was a lot of that. I think now the community is a lot friendlier, and I think people are more supportive of people's collecting. I think from my point of view, there's always going to be some toxic people out there, but I think so it's good in a way because I think it gets rid of that elitist element, and also it does allow people that are only just, because I mean I can't imagine starting collecting now. I wouldn't have anywhere near the number of figures I've got because of the the way the prices have gone, and obviously having to work backwards on stuff that came out a long time ago. You can pay quite a lot of money for stuff, and I get that people might be upset that they've been sitting on what they think is some sort of investment, and then a 2.0 comes out and instantly the value of that original one just tanks. Well, welcome to figure collecting. It's not an investment. We talk about this all the time. It's got to be what you love, and my whole collection is stuff that I love from my childhood, from some more modern stuff, but stuff that really appeals to my heart, more than my head, kind of thing. And that is Star Wars, indie, anything 80s. That's the real focus of mine, because it's stuff that I will never fall out of love with, because I've loved it for 50 years, and I will continue to love it for however many years I've got left. So I don't mind.
Better be all the years, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, 2.0s, and sometimes they're not better. I think when they brought out the Marty McFly again, I don't think that sculpt was as good as the original
You're not
one.
wrong.
And that what's he called it? Melted butter Einstein.
Melted butter Einstein.
That was bad. That's where you started that saying, I think, the melted butter. So they're not always better, but obviously they appeal to people that weren't there in the first place. And that Marty was going for quite a lot of money. I think the one with the guitar, the original one, and then they re-released it. So 100%. I think it's good, because if I was new to the hobby, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where I never thought I'd get the New Hope figures and stuff. And obviously that is the big one that is going to go 2.0 crazy next year.
Oh yeah.
We just got
for the 50th anniversary, right?
Yeah, we just got the pre-order for the quarter Han Solo, which is an odd one. But obviously we know they're going to do the 6 scale. They're going to do all the main characters, and I kind of have to sit and think, well, actually, which ones of them do I need to upgrade? Because I've got a lot of custom head sculpts and stuff on mine. So actually, I'd probably pick up the Han, just because that head sculpt is fire. And if somebody can finally nail a Mark Hamill sculpt, like a New Hope Mark Hamill sculpt, then I will pick that up as well. But not necessarily. I don't think that anything else will improve. I still think the Sideshow clothing, in some aspects, was superior to the Hot Toys stuff. But yeah, it's all about the sculpts for me now, because I don't think that the other elements, like they're a New Hope Stormtroopers, are, in my vision. I know that there's these people that get really dialed in on these little minute elements of the helmets and stuff, but to my view, they're fantastic. They're one of the best figures Hot Toys ever made, and they'll release those, but I don't need to upgrade those. I don't need to upgrade. So I'm hoping that I don't feel the need to drop thousands of pounds on them, but it makes sense. It's the 50th anniversary of the greatest movie of all time, in my opinion, and why shouldn't people new to the collecting hobby get their shot at them? So yeah, I don't mind it at all. And as you say, it is a business. As much as we question Hot Toys, why have they brought that out? They are running a business, and obviously they've probably got passionate people, because you've got to have some passion to make the best figures you can, and sometimes you see that isn't there in terms of stuff they leave out, stuff they get wrong, and things like that. But they are running a business, and they need to make money, and as you say, we need to keep them in business so that we keep getting new figures and everything.
Other characters that we want, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, because I think you mentioned something in there that made me think about it too, because there's been lots of times where a 2.0, like you said, isn't necessarily always better, or at the very least the one that you have is good enough, right?
Good enough.
98% of the time am the only one that's ever in my own collection room. You guys on the YouTube world get to see a little bit of it, but I am surrounded on both sides of this room by cool shit, and I'm the only one who ever gets to experience it. But why do I need to feel as a collector that I always have to upgrade if I'm perfectly happy with the one that I've got? Right?
Yeah, you got to judge.
Choose to skip it. You got to judge it.
how big the improvement is. And I think,
That's
as Moose Dream put in the chat, I think those Terminators are a good example of where they improved them massively, but not with the least of with the leather clothing and stuff. So, and they're old figures. So in that case, I would say if that's your jam, they're worth the upgrade, definitely.
Whereas I got myself the classic Predator recently, like on like a buy sell trade for super cheap. He's awesome in my display. I'm freaking loving it. And I was like, I don't need the new one. I'm okay.
No.
I'm okay without the new one. That one's cool. They
Well,
didn't even change the scaling all that much. Like it looks like almost the same figure.
I picked up the original big chap loose for £100, just over £100, and
love that.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant figure, and I don't think that I would justify spending $400 to get the new one. So I think good enough. Yeah, good enough sometimes is the way to look at stuff.
Absolutely. Ray Lert says a lot of 2.0s are updates from over 7 years ago. If you're collecting solely for the value and not as a display piece, you're in it for the wrong reasons. I like that take because you're right. When I started collecting, I didn't collect them because I was like, ooh, maybe one day they'll have money value. I was like, no, I love the character, and this is the most accurate version of this character I can find in figure format. Like, how cool would that be to own it? There was a time where I thought that they were wildly overpriced, and there's no way I'd ever be able to collect these things consistently. And that's back when they were like, on average, like $225 to $245 a figure. Right now, they're like $300 or more, right?
Yeah,
but he's right in the sense of like I collected it for the display and the nostalgia, not because maybe one day it would have value. But when you have 65 I think or 70 figures, like I've got, some of you guys have hundreds of figures, it is hard to not look at them having monetary value. Like I get that people didn't collect them for the investment aspect,
but
when you have spent that kind of coin and you look at it and you go, I have a $80,000 collection in my room. Well, it was 80,000, now it's more like 50,000 if I had to liquidate it, if something happened in life. Shit happens, medical bills, family, like who knows why you might need some of that money back. It is still hard to not look at it as something that is a depreciating asset at times, and sometimes an inflationary asset. It can kind of go both ways, but it's not the reason to collect. Totally agree on that one. Adam, lots of points here floating around. What are your thoughts when it comes to our 2.0s helping or hurting 6-scale collecting?
So I've been nodding yes to pretty much everything that you and Pete have been saying. I'm an Apple user. Here's my iPhone. Okay, this is last year's iPhone, the 2025, I guess. And you know what I notice? Every 4 years or so, the battery starts draining very quickly. And they're very clever. They want you to upgrade to their new iPhone, but they come out with a new iPhone every year. I do not get a new iPhone every year. I try to stretch it every 5 years. But there's always a little something that Apple does. Why? Because they're in a business. They want to sell the iPhones. A car, the car companies come out with a new version of the car every year. They make a little slight tweak. Some upgrades are not as good as the one you had before, but that's their business model. 2.0s, 3.0s. Every year it's a 2.0 for Apple, for Honda, for Ford, for Mercedes. So that's just business. That once Hot Toys or any 1/6 scale or toy company sells their product to you or to the distributor, they're done with it. They don't make any money from that one product after if you try to sell it on eBay or Marketplace or wherever you. So they got to continue to recoup. They got to continue to remain financially viable. And the only way they're going to do it, yes, new content, yes, or new figures. But they also have to go back and do the 2.0s and 3.0s of some of their most popular characters, particularly ones that haven't been out for a while. And I'm sure they're looking on eBay and Mercari and all Facebook Marketplace and seeing certain demands for figures. And like, you know what? We can make money on this if we do a 2.0 or 3.0. So that that's just business. That's how it works. So can't really. I don't feel like you get too emotional when a 2.0 comes out because it's going to happen. In terms of if you're the collector now, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a veteran collector. 3 years in, but I guess I'm not a newbie either. So I but at least 3 years, like it's a decent amount of time. Not an expert by any means. I'm not an expert, but I play one on YouTube. So
he is an expert.
I think that listen, my rule of thumb on a 2.0 is if I already have that figure and a 2.0 or 3.0 comes out, unless it's like, and I'll give an example of a figure we're going to talk about, unless it's a figure that I have where I could display both versions of it, one with the mask and one unmasked, then in that case, I might get the 2.0 because I could still keep the one I have. I'm not someone who sells the figures. Not to say that I'll never sell a figure. I'm not talking about like, God forbid, some financial catastrophe and I need to liquidate that. But just in general, I don't resell my stuff. If I buy it, that's something that I want to have in my collection. Not to say every once in a while I get a figure that's a dud, like you mentioned that Wolverine figure band that you're trying to unload. I think that's kind of a dud figure, but I'm not going to sell it because I still, I like that movie, and that's one of my favorite comic storylines of all time. So it's good enough. He's kind of in the back in my Wolverines, but for the most part, I'm happy with my collection, and I think you got to be happy with what you have. And if you were happy with what you bought in the first place, and you've been happy to have it in your collection, and all of a sudden the hot new shiny toys are, ooh, look, the shiny toy 2.0, 3.0, you shouldn't panic and just sell what you got because you need that. You need it. No, grow the F up. Grow the F up and love what you have. Now, if you think that if it's something that's been around for 10, 15 years and there's a major upgrade, that makes sense. You want to get to 2.0. Or like, I think my reasoning, if you have, one's like you want to do a different pose, unmasked, or, one's a mask, one's unmasked, whatever, I think that totally makes sense to get the 2.0 or 3.0. But don't just get something for the FOMO and for it's the bright, shiny toy and you can't control yourself.
Yeah, and another thing I think is great, which I forgot to say, is a lot of my collection I bought secondhand, I bought loose, I bought with stuff missing. So it's actually a great time when the 2.0s come in to get yourself a bargain on the 1.0 if for you that is good enough for your collection.
So and I'm like an eBay seller's best friend. I wish I didn't already have the figures you're trying, or at least one of them that you're trying to sell, Ben. Because I know, like when they announced the Terminator, both versions, the clean and battle damaged 2.0s, you know what I did? I got the 1.0s. I think I bought Graham's battle damage one, Jedi Night's Watch, and then I got the clean one on eBay, and good enough for me. I've done that several times. The Batman Armory, I got the 1.0 with Alfred. Good enough for me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, and I've never been like, I've never wanted to be or ever felt like being, and this isn't to call anybody out, this is just in general, like a YouTuber that like has to have all the newest stuff. Because like, again, I'm really the only one that gets to enjoy my collection 98% of the time. And so if I like it, it's good enough. Now, I have chosen to upgrade certain figures. Like I'm selling my Crow, Sideshow Crow figure, even though I think that's a great figure, because I wanted that caustic plastic one more. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get, even if I get $100 for that thing, whatever, like it'll still go towards the next one that I want more. But that's a me purchase. That's not like a like trying to flaunt a better collection or something. Like it's not like that at all. And so that's, I think, the reason to do it. Now it's interesting, before I go to you, Dave, because I was also thinking a little bit about this. I personally do think 2.0s help the collecting hobby because of everything these guys have already said, right? It's a business. We want to see them continue to make more figures. I've been collecting long enough that there are figures in my collection, like my Farm Boy Luke, who is directly above my InArt Paul Atreides, where the quality differential there between those two is so vast that the like it just doesn't look good in my display as much anymore for that Farm Boy. So like 2.0s get me excited still because I'm like, holy shit, look how much better that figure is than the one that I had. I've got to enjoy the one I've had for years. I'm going to move that on and get the next one. I can get excited, or it can stay good enough and keep it. I think the only exception to that feeling of it helping versus hurting are things like Chrome Mando versus Beskar Mando, right? People were just getting the Beskar Mando in their displays like I was until they gave you the Chrome Mando and was like, look how much better the Chrome Mando is versus the Beskar Mando. That was an FU to collectors. To me, that hurt.
That was the worst.
It didn't help it.
Or that snow from
Snow Trooper.
Solo.
Trooper.
Yeah. Oh man, what dirty fool that was.
Or Venom, right? The Tom Hardy Venom. The first one didn't come with the head sculpt. The second version, which was the same figure with some different tentacles, came with the head sculpt. As people were getting the 1.0 in their display, like that's when I think, you know, the company is actually shooting themselves in the foot a little bit with collectors. Whereas, like, you know, the one comment we read earlier, if this is a reissue of 7 years or beyond, it's time. The technology has gotten way better, and I think that it's going to be harder for it to have that big of a jump now between now and 7 years from now, right? Like, and I could be wrong, but like the paint apps and technology are getting so good that like every month over month there are subtle changes now, but there's not quite those huge leaps and bounds like we've seen over the last decade of collecting in terms of that quality, right? And so I think the 2.0s now that are coming out are going to be pretty safe in our collections for a pretty broad period of time, unless they turn to shit with pleather material. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But Mr. Dave, what do you think about? Oh, go ahead, Adam.
No, you mentioned that farm boy Luke, and to me that would fit my loophole. In that, if genuinely what comes out is genuinely a significant improvement, and I mean, if they don't,
how can it not be?
That's outrageous. If it's not, I could see what I would do. I would just take my old figure and put the hat on, and then you know, it's like it's basically another figure. It's a different look.
Different look. Yeah, good call. Dave, what are your thoughts here on 2.0s helping or hurting 6 scale collecting now that you've been in it for a little while? Your thoughts?
It's a double-edged sword. When I came in, one thing that I really wanted to have was an 89 Batman. And I had made peace with the fact that I was not going to get one, because there's no way in hell I was spending $1,000 on that old figure that I see people having that's falling apart and has the panel on the back of the head. I don't want anything to do with any of that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to have my favorite Batman, and that's just going to be that. And then they made a 2.0. On one hand, that's great, because now I get to have 89 Batman. On the other hand, the thing that I think hurts the 2.0 aspect of figures is the way they choose to do them. At least one facet is the way they choose to do them. Like, I don't know that it was a significant upgrade from the previous one, because, you know, everyone remembers Suitgate. Everyone remembers that whole debacle. The cape is, while it's not pleather, it's still not. We saw what they could do with capes when they did Moon Knight. And the fact that they're not doing that with every cape going forward is just blasphemous, especially when it's Batman. So that's a problem. That hurts, I think, as far as, you know, the aspect of 2.0s go. But another problem with them is where they choose to put that 2.0 money, right? Like, you get another 2.0 Iron Man every, you know, couple of months, it seems like. Like, there's other figures that, you know, that we've been getting 2.0s of that needed them, that are good to have out there. But, you know, how long does it take to do that, right? We just got these Terminator figures that are fantastic. They got leather. Man, you can't. That's good. That's really good. The sculpts are good. They're. I think they're good enough compared to the originals that, and it's been long enough that it's worth having. Maybe not so much the T1000 as far as those body proportions and the way that suit was made. That's sad when you get 2.0 and you got to get a whole new body with a whole new suit. to make it good.
Yeah.
That was pretty pathetic, I thought. So I think in those aspects, I think 2.0s are kind of hurting things. In some aspects, though, and maybe on the other side of that particular coin, maybe it isn't hurting things as far as, certain 1.0s like that original 89 Batman. A lot of folks are regretting getting rid of that in favor of the new one. And the folks who have theirs still are pretty happy that they have them still. So I think in that case it was a win, but it was a win with a lot of effort for naught, So I think overall it does kind of hurt. And that's only because of the way they choose to go about it. I think if they did it right, it would be a net positive.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best you could have said it, honestly, dude, because it seems to me like the community for the most part agrees with us here, or agrees with you guys. Like 28 votes here on the poll, 86% helping, 14% hurting. So there are a couple people still that do feel truly like, yeah, it kind of hurts a little bit, right? And I think it might have to do with how long we've been in the hobby for. It is hard to, spend so much money on these things and then watch a newer, better version come up, especially if it is your favorite character, because it is hard to say, like, where is my line? Heath Ledger Joker is one of those characters for me. I spent $1,000 to get the DX11 a couple years ago, and then there's been like 5 variants since then, like that were way better. But it doesn't take away from my excitement and that toy hunting aspect of getting that figure in my display when I did.
Makes me so glad that I'm not a Dark Knight collector.
Oh my god, right?
The amount of Batmans, the amount of Jokers, ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Our buddy Brick Artemis says, helping the business, hurting the hobby as we know it. Like, I think there is an element of the rollout, right? The way that they do it sometimes does seem to hurt the hobby, for example. And I think if the resale market wasn't quite as soft, it still wouldn't be as much of a blow. Like, if I could still even sell them for what I paid retail, I would be happy. But when, like, again, some of the figures that I've got on Facebook Marketplace right now, it's getting to the point where it would be better for me to just give them away or keep them in the closet for 10 more years and try and unload them then. You know what I mean? But like, that hurt a little bit, not because I'm upset about the reissues, but more about the fact that I can't move on my collection very easily when I want to at this point. But that's just the way it is. I've never seen so many Facebook Marketplace figures since I started collecting. Like, it's they're on there constantly now, which is really
full collections
wild.
at times.
Well, for sure. And I mean, let's talk about some of these reissues then as a result, right? Pedro Lopez says, Ben Thomas figure giveaway. That's the thing. I don't think they're the greatest figures. I don't know if people would want them. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should just keep it, right?
If they're free,
I
mate,
give you guys the shit.
Yeah.
You guys hear me talk about, I don't want that figure. Here, well, give it away. Generous Ben, you love to see it. No, that's not.
Yeah. I think
hey, free is free.
For example,
and then the person you give it to sells it on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. That's right.
There's my NRD paid off.
I think there's nothing wrong with that Wolverine figure, but obviously,
that was a great figure. There's just better
yellow
ones.
And blue. That's the one everybody wants. It's the one we've all been waiting for. And it's like, well,
you see a lot of those on Marketplace too.
Yeah,
they're still popping up, right? Yeah. But yeah, guys, let us know, especially if you're tuning in or just joining us now or tuning in on a replay. Is figure 2.0s, is it helping the hobby? Is it hurting the hobby? Is it somewhere in between? Is it a bit of a gray area for you guys? I'd love to hear your comments, and we can always read them on the next Let's Get Nuts too if there's some good ones there, because different perspectives is kind of fun, especially when we enjoy this hobby as much as we do, right? And let's talk about some of these 2.0s, because we're going to talk about the Captain America, we're going to talk about that new Thor, we're going to talk about that Iron Man, and then the Jack Sparrow, which all 4 figures that popped up on our news feeds this week are technically reissues of previous generations of figures. Now, Captain America is first up on the slides here, and I'll be honest, like, this is one of my favorite looks for Cap, especially with some of his scenes that he's in this outfit in particular. The only thing I didn't love about this look was the blue shield. Like, I still like his more classic look to his shield. But otherwise, I loved the dark blue. Some of his fight scenes in this outfit were freaking awesome. They've been able to kind of iron out, in my opinion, the proportions of Cap, so I think he looks better physically than he has in previous iterations of the character and the figure. But for me, the likeness still just isn't really here. And you guys are going to probably, like, anybody who wants this figure is going to call me crazy, because I'd still say it's one of the better likenesses we've now had of Chris Evans. But like, I'm not sure why this one and the Tony Stark, spoiler alert, for me are just like still not quite there yet. So I skipped on this one. This was one that I decided not to go on. But I can understand the appeal of the figure. Adam, what were your thoughts here on the Captain America 2.0?
I could do this figure all day.
Yeah.
Oh, phrasing.
Cap's my favorite Marvel character. I have the 1.0, so this is a case where I am getting this 2.0, and I pulled the trigger after I saw the blogger photos and Figure Hideouts video. Particularly Patrick Zord's photography on this. His blogger photos are really good. Excellent job.
Oh yeah.
So I think it looks a lot like I respectfully I gotta disagree with you on this one. I respectfully I think it looks a lot like Chris Evans. To me, it's definitely their best Chris Evans sculpt. It's certainly the head sculpt's an improvement over the 1.0. So for me, this fits my loophole, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep my 1.0 with the helmet on, and then I'm going to have him displayed with the Evans head sculpt on. I'm really excited about this. I kind of agree with you. I would have been nice if, in addition to the blue shield, they had the traditional red, white, and blue shield, like an additional shield to go with it. I think that would have been a good accessory to include. But this is, I think, one of the best MCU entries, the Winter Soldier, the best Captain America film as well. So I'm looking forward to getting this. Should be coming in a couple of days, hopefully.
What are your thoughts, Adam, on the difference from the proto to the final? Do you see the likeness more or less in the sculpt here?
I think it's an improvement. If they sometimes say if something's a 10% downgrade, this is probably a 10% improvement over the prototype. And that's kind of why I waited, because I did not pre-order it. And then it went to waitlist. I wanted to see what the final product was, and I think it's an improvement. I think it's a very good figure.
I agree. I personally, like you heard me say it, I don't personally love the likeness, but I do think it looks more like Chris Evans in the final than it does on the prototype. His face looked like kind of swollen in the prototype in an odd way. And shout out to Sixth Scale Treasures. He's given me permission to highlight his comparisons. Go over on Instagram if you have Instagram and follow this account. It's an awesome account. He gets these comparisons out faster than I can get my YouTube videos out, which is pretty fast. And so it definitely helps with a good look at what these characters look like, and in comparison to some of the previous generations, right? Because I mean, take a look at this. We were just talking about 1.0s. Are 2.0s hurting this hobby? I would have to say absolutely not, when you see the improvements from some of these Generation 1 figures, right? And again, we can still love those Generation 1 figures, though. Even if it's this big of an improvement. If you still got the original, you can still love it. There's no shade there. But they're pretty freaking impressive in comparison. What do you think, X-Men Supreme, on the Captain America?
I think he's pretty good. I saw, was it Figure Hideout, where he's talking about how they still kind of have the issue with the traps. Mm-hmm. But I didn't honestly notice that until he said it. So I think, it's probably okay.
Is it just that he's a little flat-shouldered, basically? Like,
yeah, he's a little flat-shouldered.
Right.
But I don't think it's so bad. I think the harness kind of helps to mask that a little bit. But I think it looks pretty good overall. I think this is probably the better offering of Captain America so far. I do agree, again, with everybody. They should have just given him the regular shield. Like, there's something about the color scheme on that shield that makes it look flatter than it is, and I don't like it. It looks weird to me. It's off for some reason. It just doesn't look right.
Well, and he's holding, I love how the promotional images he's holding his other shield.
Oh yeah, he is. But what's cool about this though is they did that hand attachment where he can actually hold the shield, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty innovative. I like that they did that. That's pretty friggin' neat. because some of the poses they've been putting them in with that look really, really good, and you can't do that with the previous caps. So that's a pretty big deal. I think as long as if you've got another cap and you've got the regular shield, I don't see any reason why you can't just put that in his hands and call it good. You know, as long as the straps haven't broken at the tabs, because that's the way that works. But that's another thing with this too, is the magnetic bits is really cool how they did that.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it looks better. And you know, even some of these comparisons, again, when I see the 1.0 head sculpt, I'm like, okay, the new one does look pretty good. In this particular image, it does look like the proto and the final. If there was a bit of a blend of those two, it would be more like, I feel like the actual like screen image here. Like these two need to marry each other to get to this a little bit still, in an odd way. What do you think, Pete, in terms of, you know, this particular reissue? Seeing the differences, some of the sculpt, some of the improvements. Is this a figure you'd consider? For the display?
Yeah, I don't really collect the Avengers stuff anymore. I just got my Wolverine, Deadpool from Marvel, but undoubtedly it's a massive improvement. And I think, as much as Adam said he's going to display the two, I very much get the thing you were saying, Ben, about sometimes the improvement is so big that it just, you can't have the two next to each other, because it just pops out at you that what was an amazing figure is a great figure. Things have moved on so much in 10 years or what have you. I would say that I actually prefer, I don't think any of them are likenesses are spot on. I do prefer the prototype, but only because, and it's difficult to judge because that is a one-off head sculpt that is painted by the absolute best painter they've got. The difference I would say is that I think the prototype could pass for a photograph of an actor, not necessarily Chris Evans, whereas the new one does look like a plastic toy to me. That's the only difference, and that often is the case with protos anyway, because you're comparing a one-off that someone might have spent 100 hours on compared to a mass-produced version of that. But without a doubt, I think it's lost a little bit in the proto, but it's still a massive improvement. And obviously, if this was a figure that I wanted in my collection, I just think even the body looks a bit better there in the proto. Just looks more of a man in a suit than the final. But that's what we've come to expect, and I think it's miles better than the old one. And if this is a character that I wanted in my collection, I would have to upgrade, absolutely.
His waist here
just for clarity,
just
for clarity, my 1.0 is getting bottom shelved. And
fair enough.
The 2.0, that's getting a prime spot next to the new Black Widow.
Yeah, so, you can't have them in the same eye line, really. You got to be able to...
I just want to be transparent about that.
Yeah, you have to see them in isolation. Yeah.
Hey, this suit goes really well with that new Black Widow too. Same color scheme. So they both got the shield markings on them. Great. That's gonna look really good.
But I think the helmeted head looks great, and I would only ever display cap like this anyway, so
that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's a great figure. I'm excited to see people get it in their collections. This is one that I'm happy I could save some money on and just appreciate the artistry of more collectibles, and again the improvements from 1.0s to 2.0s. I think this helps to solidify some of our points earlier about just technology and all of those things increasing. And I mean, this figure especially is also in the same vein as that. I love Chris Hemsworth. I think my first introduction to Chris Hemsworth was actually Star Trek 2009, where he actually plays Kirk's dad, who dies at the
George
beginning.
Kirk.
George Kirk. And I think that was my first introduction to him. And then shortly after that, Cabin in the Woods, which was a really great horror comedy film as well. But yeah, he's in there. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Wow.
Love both of those, and I mean, I've been a big fan of Chris Evans ever since. I think, apologies, Chris Hemsworth ever since. I think he's always made a fantastic Thor. I've always believed in him, and while some of his films get a little silly, I didn't love Love and Thunder. I wanted to. There was aspects of it that I had fun with, but it wasn't the movie I was hoping it would be. And I don't even think that's a Taika Waititi issue. I just think that there was some issues with the writing and the way it was produced. I also never really loved his outfit in that movie, with the more like. I wanted to say that they wanted to try and go a little more comic booky with it, with like the extra blue and everything, but it looked cartoony on the screen in comparison to the Age of Ultron's look here, or even the original Avengers film in 2012. That look, I feel like they looked more real, something that he'd actually wear. And Love and Thunder, I didn't love that. Now, I had not felt like they'd really truly dialed in the likeness to Chris Hemsworth on any previous figure. There was still something that I was like, it still feels off. It still feels off. It still feels off. And so I'm one of those happy I waited guys this time, because I'm happy I waited long enough to see a Chris Hemsworth figure really truly come to fruition. I think this looks just like Chris Hemsworth. And it's funny because, again, we all see art differently. It's a very subjective approach when you talk about a figure's likeness, because like I just said, I don't think that Chris Evans figure looks enough like Chris Evans, but I'm willing to say I think this looks just like Chris Hemsworth. And half of you guys out there might disagree with that take. That's totally cool, but I think this looks exactly like Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, they've finally freaking
definitely
nailed
the best yet.
Definitely the best yet. And I'll show you guys some comparisons from 6 Scale Treasures here in a second as well. Here's the thing for this figure for me, it's just from the wrong movie. I liked Age of Ultron. Don't get me wrong. It's a great film. But what I've been kind of holding out for is 2.0s to come from of the Avengers film. Because I really want a Hulk, a green hulking Hulk. And I want that from the Avengers film. And if they give that to us, then I'm going to want the Thor from that film, and the Cap from that film, and the Black Widow, and the Hawkeye, right? Like, I'm going to want the team. And I don't really intend to collect from Age of Ultron. And so while the figure looked freaking awesome, and this is limited to 3,000, so let's be honest, it's going to clear out pretty quickly either way. The pre-order goes up for this tomorrow. I forgot to add the slide in, guys, but let me just see if I had it here. It's tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, or PT, 9 a.m. PT on Monday the 23rd. So I think is that Pacific time? That's probably Pacific time. But yeah, 9 a.m. PT tomorrow, Monday the 23rd. If you guys are trying to get in the queue for this guy, again, 3,000 limited release. It's going to go pretty quickly. Here's my bet, though. They didn't put this much money in R&D into this head sculpt in order for this to be the last time we're going to see this good of a sculpt. I honestly still think we'll end up seeing an Avengers one at some point. Almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. And so as a result, I'm going to wait. I'm going to gamble. And even though I like this, and I feel like I've waited this long, I feel like I can wait a little longer and see if we get, an Avengers Thor instead. But I pass the question off to you, Mr. Adam. What are your thoughts here on this one? Because I think from my recollection, you were pretty freaking excited about this guy, right?
I'm really excited for this one. This has truly been a marvelous week for Hot Toys. Sorry, dad jokes. I just can't resist them. I've been waiting to get a kind of standard traditional Thor for some time. I do have the Endgame Thor, and I like that figure a lot. But I haven't gotten. This is one where I have not gotten back in time to get an older 1.0, and I have been waiting for a 2.0 version with artisan hair. So. I've been kind of going back and forth looking at photos of Avengers 1 versus Age of Ultron. And a lot of times I don't have an eye for these sort of details. I can barely tell the difference in outfit between the first Avengers and Age of Ultron, as opposed to some, say, like Love and Thunder. Like, definitely a noticeable difference. Certainly with, his look in Infinity War. Endgame, obviously a major difference, and not just his physicality. I think this is great. I'm gonna try my best and use all the prayers and magic at my disposal to try to get in on that queue and pick this up tomorrow. I think this is a home run. I think it's a dead ringer for Hemsworth. I'm looking forward to getting this. Knock on wood.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna pull up our comparison friend here, Six Scale Treasures. Once again, shout out here. I for the folks who have said this doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, I definitely see it. Now, again, anytime you have a direct comparison to a real life photo of a person, there's always gonna be things that you can pick apart on it a little bit, right? And again, I think his face does look a little wide here as a result. Maybe his chin's a little more prominent than it actually is in reality. Like there are some things you can say, but I'd say like him in the movie still here on the right hand side versus the left, I'm like, God damn, that looks pretty freaking awesome. I think my biggest criticism, Adam, on this one was that they haven't given us a sculpted variant. With how good sculpted hair has been lately, I think I would have been okay with a sculpted one if I'm honest, and I might have considered it more over dealing with an artisan at this point, even though we had all hoped for an artisan Thor at one point. The seamless arms look really good here. I love the fact that this figure has the swap out look, so you can get the chainmail linked arms or the bare arms that are seamless, and you can take his cape off as well. I think in terms of the comparisons to the actual actor in uniform, pretty freaking great overall. Dave, what do you think, buddy, about the Thor here? Artisan figure limited to 3,000. Is this going to be one you're going to try and jump in on? And this is showing the Dark World version down below as well.
I think this is an amazing looking figure. There are differences between the figure and the actual suit that I noticed right away, seeing the side by side comparisons. But that's not something that you're really going to think about if you're not seeing them side by side. I didn't notice when the figure was first announced that there's a lot more detail on the suit, on like the metal bits, and like the little X bit down at his stomach area is much different from the figure to the suit itself. But again, that's not something that I noticed without seeing the comparison. I don't think that's a problem. I think he looks pretty damn like Chris Hemsworth. I think this is, if I was going to have one Thor that they have made so far, it would be this one, because I think this is the best Thor has looked in the MCU. Yeah, in his first movie, he looked, the invisible eyebrows freak me the fuck out, man. This is the look I want.
They were weird.
The first Avengers movie, his hair was still much shorter, and he looked still a bit different. Not bad, but I like how they did him here. I like his longer hair. I like that it's a little bit thinner. I like that he's got the braid going on in the back. It just looks and feels more Viking warrior than Vidal Sassoon to me. And I like that for him. I would prefer to have the Lebowski Thor, like with his fingerless gloves and his cardigan and all of that. That's the Thor that I really want. And that's just not going to happen outside of that crappy third party that was made. And I don't want that crap. I want a real good one. That's what I want in a Thor. So I definitely am not in on this, but I think it looks fantastic. And if I really, really wanted a Thor, this would be it for me.
I would love that Lebowski Thor.
Sense, eh?
Yeah,
oh my God,
it would be
that
great.
Would be so funny. He needs a game controller with him, though, of course. But
it's
interesting seeing all the different likenesses to Thor, though. It's funny
that
you
one
mentioned
like
the invisible eyebrows.
In the middle,
Which one?
top middle. The Avengers one is like Leo.
Oh my gosh.
It does look like it does. Well said, dude. Good call.
Damn.
And even like the Love and Thunder one, right? Again, that's the most recent one next to this one, and like that looks like him in like in costume on the right hand side, and then not so much here in the middle. So, which is interesting. Yeah, that does really look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's funny.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
That is wild. Pete, what were your thoughts when you saw this Artisan Thor come up? Is this one you're going to try and chase down, or do you think it's safe to wait?
I had all the Avengers ones, and I'd always liked Thor as a character, and I think undoubtedly that's the best looking Thor they've made. I think there's still a little bit of Paul Walker in there, but not as much as the older ones, like the middle bottom one there, from Fast and the Furious. It's always had that look about it, but I think it's definitely the strongest yet, and I'd be more than happy. But obviously, again, it's one of those ones. It's 3,000 units. It's going to be really difficult to get hold of, and if you don't manage to get one, you're going to be paying a lot on the aftermarket. It's interesting because I think most people feel that Ultron is the weakest of the Avengers movies, so it's an interesting one. But the costume's not that much different, and the only difference it had is that it was the first time that they had the bare arms on it as well. So it makes sense in a way, because I always liked the Dark World figure, but that didn't have the, that was just the so it looks great. I think if you're going to have one Thor, it does the job. But yeah, the art. And obviously there's been a lot of criticism about artisan Hot Toys figures. I've not had any in hand, so I don't know how true those are about the hair falling out and stuff like that. Hopefully they've got sorted those QC issues out now.
Yeah, I've seen more on the glue residue than the hair falling out, I think. But I mean, still, right? It's still a bit of a concern.
Yeah,
and I'm certainly no hairstylist. I've been wanting to futz with my Paul Atreides hair a little bit, because it almost looks like he was wearing a helmet, like just the way that it's sitting. But I'm so nervous to even touch it, like especially with water. I'm like, I'm gonna mess it up worse. I'm literally. Yeah,
well, I just went for it with both mine, with Aragorn and Legolas. I just thought, well, and in art, I think are still the best for rooting. Whereas Hot Toys have still got the edge on sculpted, and sculpted would have looked good on here. The way they're sculpting hair at the moment, like that Anakin, the sculpt on that hair is brilliant. It's going to limit articulation a little bit, but it's a lot better than it was back in the day. So
for sure,
yeah, it would be nice to have a wider release sculpted one would, and maybe it does come. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Blinken says here, sure they'll do another Artisan Thor, but probably not until this one is released. I don't even know, because like again with our Chrome Mando example, would not surprise me that they got all of the pre-order money for this one next, tomorrow, and then give us the next Artisan Thor for Avengers film in a week from now, and just give people the option. But I do agree, even like with you, Adam, I wouldn't say that I'm a Thor suit expert by any stretch, and I was just looking at photos while you guys were chatting of Thor from the Avengers film, and it looks like you're right, like he's got the chainmail kind of sleeves. That's kind of the biggest difference. I would say that this Thor could really fit in any Avengers display, and most people would never know the difference, right?
Yeah.
Again, kind of like we talked about earlier, we're the only ones that are ever really in our rooms. So is it worth getting this now or waiting for a one that may or may never come? Hard to say. That's where FOMO really takes over on collecting, though, and got to be careful on that. And Pete, I'll stick with you on this next one here, going into it, in terms of our our Iron Man diecast Mark 43. 43. I had to think about that for a second. This one was pretty cool. I love the fact that this is a diecast representation, a 2.0 of what we've had in the past, but the biggest notable difference for me here is obviously improvements to the head sculpt from the past generation, as well as this is the USB-C version. So what this really highlights to me, at the very least, Pete, is that we talked about 2.0s today quite a lot in the show. It will not surprise me if we start seeing now 3.0s of some of our other favorites that have had the 2.0 treatment with diecast and some of those things, to now see some of those starting to have USB-C functionality included in it. I think the biggest issue I have with it, though, Pete, if I'm honest, is that I've had my display cabinet set up for a pretty significant period of time. Trying to figure out how I'm going to wire all these figures in for USB-C functionality is going to be an entirely different challenge, right? As well as, again, we talking about crazy, crashing of value on the resale market. As soon as a 3.0 is out that has USB-C versus battery functionality, those previous Iron Man, which are expensive figures, may drop off a little in value. So what do you say to the collector that maybe is an Iron Man collector, knowing that this is definitely a possibility for the future, but not wanting them to not enjoy their collection as it is right now? And what do you think of this
again? Something that I'm glad I'm not an Iron Man collector. I used to have an Avengers display, and my view of it was always, it wasn't ever all from the same movie. It's what I considered the best representation of each character, and I was happy with that. And I had the Civil War Iron Man for a long time until I sort of cleared that bit out, and I was really happy with that. I think but yeah, I'm glad I'm not a collector of these. And again, I mean, there's going to be people out there that think this is the best Iron Man suit, but I wouldn't say that it's one of the most popular ones. And I think if you've already got it, is it worth the upgrade? I mean, the diecast is nice when you first get it out and you hold it in your hand, but then it goes in the cabinet and then it becomes a little bit of a liability in terms of if it falls over or anything like that. But I think the point you make about the USB is the biggest one, and it's undoubtedly going to warrant 3.0s of, because these are the most ridiculous things for batteries. I mean, anything that runs on a battery
Oh my god,
is ridiculous. Not only the fact that they last about 2 minutes, but also just getting to them. You know, people don't. You want to switch your display on, and that's it. You don't want to be going in, taking heads off, unscrewing stuff, flicking all these switches to go right. Okay, yep, lovely. I'll turn it off now. So when I did do my redisplay, I had to run a lot of cables and stuff. So I just ran, because I've got a load of CCFL Sabres, and I ran some USB cables down and stuff. So it gave me a little bit of future proofing, but I wouldn't want to have to kind of do that anymore, because I mean I could run some USBs, but I think that's the way forward. It doesn't work. It still doesn't work for lightsabers, but in terms of lights for these things, like they really need a USB 3PO, because we all want those eyes lit up, because he looks dead without
100%.
it. And also with Arta as well, I'd love to be able to have them lit up. So maybe if we finally get the A New Hope version of 3PO and a branded A New Hope R2, albeit that they're all basically the same, but if they do that for the 50th and they've got USBs, then bring it on. Definitely in for those.
For sure.
So,
Shout out to Justin from Justin's Collection too, because I heard him mention to Will Foxification the other day on his show that at the very least they should also give you like a helmet or like a swap out arc reactor that's painted in high reflective white. So at the very least, when they're turned off, they could still have the illusion of being turned on. Because even my Iron Man, who's standing across from me right now, or the C-3PO, like you mentioned, awesome figures, but they look like they're turned off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And
and
like you nailed it when you said nobody's gonna want to take open the battery compartments and everything to flick the switches for 30 seconds worth of photos. Yeah. Sometimes I can't even get it back to the pose that I wanted in for the photos.
No, exactly, because
before the batteries die.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? So yeah. But on the other hand, I'm also with Pedro Lopez out there who's saying, like, I'd rather have batteries than a jumble mess of wires. I'm kind of somewhere in between. What I'm actually hoping for is the future of 4.0's Iron Man, when you could stick the figure on a base that lights it up without any wiring. So you maybe wire the base once.
Yeah.
But the figure itself requires it to be lit. That technology has existed since I was a kid. I don't know why it's taken so long for figure companies to be able to have that as an option. Right?
Yeah, but then a lot of people don't. Then you got a problem if people don't use the display bases. If you got them in a diorama, then obviously you're losing the ability to light them up. Then. So,
also true.
Technically,
also has its own downfall.
It's possible, but yeah, I think that would. There's ways of hiding cables. If you want to light them up that badly, you can hide a cable quite easily.
So Charleston Chu says wireless charging, or at the very least, like rechargeable batteries, right? So you charge it up, you can turn it on for a period of time, and then you recharge the figure again, potentially. Maybe that with a base, right, or something along those lines. But I agree. It's there's a gap there for sure. And I forgot to mention the deluxe version of this figure. I'll show it here in a second while Adam gives his take. Also then comes with the Sentry bot that can be disassembled on the base as kind of a diorama look. Which is also pretty freaking cool. And as you can see, Pete, from this photo on the left, they had teased a 2.0 Hulkbuster at one point, probably like a year ago, maybe even slightly longer. That never seemed to come to fruition. So I'm curious to see if that'll end up, coming to light as well. But I guess last but not least, before I go to you, Adam, what were your thoughts here, Pete, on this head sculpt for Tony Stark? For me, I still think he looks a little weird, but I also think he's probably one of the better ones that we've got.
I'd say it's their best yet. It's not perfect, but yeah, it's pretty good. To be honest, I think it's, and again, a lot of these figures are benefiting massively from the rolling eyes now. It brings so much more life to any of these sculpts, really. So I think it's pretty good. Yeah,
not terrible, right?
Definitely.
He almost looks like he's had some kind of Botox or something.
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
swollen a little bit.
If you go back to the other
there.
one, it looks better. The go back again. The one with the two. Where he, yeah. I mean, yeah. Look at the top. Look at the top one. I mean, you could definitely see the evolution. That one's terrible.
This one's really wild.
Yeah, look at his hair on that one. Yeah. But no, I quite like it. I think it's definitely, to me, it's definitely the best effort, and I don't think anyone would question who it was meant to be.
Look at some of these ones too. Even like the Tony Stank up in the top right here.
Yeah.
You know, the Stuart Little. You love to see it.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? What are your thoughts here on Iron Man and the likeness to Tony Stark, the 2.0 aspect of this, the possibility of 3.0 Ironmans or 4.0s down the line? Let's be honest. What are your thoughts on all that, good sir?
Well, in terms of evolution, it's undoubtedly at some point, I don't know how far in the future. I mean, in a couple of years, they'll have it where you can, like you said, you put it on the charging base and it automatically lights up. No wires, no fuss. I think this is a home run. I think, finally, collectors have been asking for USB powered Iron Man figures. I have the armored Batman, Batman vs Superman 2.0, and I always have them, at least when the lights are on, plugged in, and Batman's lights are lit up, and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's like game changing, just like some of the Vaders I have lit up. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this. I like how you have two options. I think having that second figure of the Ultron drone is really cool, and then you can break it apart and make it a base out of it. I have the 1.0. I mean, this to me is very tempting. I have 6 Iron Man figures, and the first Iron Man figure I bought was the 1.0 of Age of Ultron. And at the time, I didn't really know like what suit was which. I saw a good deal on eBay for like, okay, what's the cheapest?
The 45.
What's the cheapest at that time? What was the cheapest die-cast Iron Man? Okay, that looks good. And I got it. But I'm happy with that figure, and that one comes with a piece of Ultron. That's like his upper body and his head. I think if you want, like I do, a USB powered Iron Man, but may not necessarily want this one, or you have this one and you want like for me, I want the Civil War version, or I would like another. I have the Mark IV suit, but I have him with his helmet off, lounging, having a cup of coffee with a box of donuts, like in that scene in Iron Man 2. I would love
awesome.
a USB full armor lit up version of that, and it's coming. So just if you like this one, I think you're gonna like it. You're not gonna be disappointed. But if this is not the suit that you're dreaming of, just be patient. A USB powered 2.0 or 3.0 is around the corner. It's coming. They're gonna do them all, and then they're gonna go to the 4.0 or 3.0 with the plug-in and on the base. So it's just inevitable.
Inevitable, as Thanos would say, for sure. X-Men, do you have thoughts on this one, or do you want us to jump to Jack Sparrow? Because I know you also have some thoughts on Mr. Jack.
This is cool. I think they better get off their duff and get with the making of the Ultron drones, because I don't know that anyone wouldn't want to have a bunch of Ultron drones if they like that movie, just to have them fighting their Avengers. I think they're missing a trick if they don't go that route, because that's a really cool aspect of this figure, and it makes me want to get it. I don't want this Iron Man. I have one Iron Man, and he's in this box right now. So that tells you how excited I am about Iron Man in general. But I think if they make more of those drones, that'd be sick.
definitely. I was just trying to pull this up here for us so we can see. 1 second there, guys. This here, yeah. So, I mean, this is pretty freaking cool. Oh, can you see that? Can you guys see that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This thing is pretty freaking cool. The fact that it can be disassembled like this and set up as though it's its own, battle damage section or like its own figure as well. In terms of the cost of it, though, I mean, it's going to make the cost of this figure pretty wild, but still very cool conceptually, anyways.
I think it's like 510 on Sideshow.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But I mean, still, like, comparatively to other die-cast Ironmans of the past, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry, 450. My bad.
But,
I don't know where I got 510.
Actually, 450 isn't as bad as I thought. Then actually, that's better than I would have expected, if I'm honest.
After shipping and tax, though.
It does feel like this is a little paywalled, though, behind this figure. So, like, if you don't get the deluxe, will they give you this as an alternative option down the line? That is hard to say, and I hate paywalls, so it'll be curious to see, kind of what that looks like. So, but overall, I mean, I think I'm happy with the fact that these have gotten reissued for the folks who are really excited about these particular characters. I do think it's cool that we could get an Age of Ultron, Iron Man, and Thor in the same week. If you're looking to set up a bit of a display that way, I think that's pretty cool. And I will say, like, overall, flowers where they're due. This Iron Man does look really freaking awesome. And lit up and everything, it's going to look freaking beautiful. But my favorite suit is the Mark 7. I think the only time I'm going to upgrade is when it eventually potentially goes to like a USB-C, so I can keep that one turned on. And maybe I'll turn the one that I have into like that flight pod thing that shoots itself out the window, something like that, right? Because I don't want to get rid of it. So, but yeah, let us know, guys, what you think here in the comments, especially if you're watching on the replay as well. In terms of these reissues from our Marvel verse. And one last reissue of the day, of course, is our Captain Jack Sparrow. What is this, Pelagostos variant? This is technically a 2.0. It sounds like it was something like MMS was like 53 or something. It was a very early age figure that the original one came out. This to me feels very, very, very scene specific. I don't always like when people say something is scene specific, but like this really feels like that to me. And probably, in my opinion, of this film, one of my least favorite of the scenes. It definitely amps up the campiness a little bit, gets a little silly. But what I wish they'd done with this figure, since they gave it to us, is to give him kind of that scared look that he has when he's running away from the group of native folks there, and he looks terrified. I think that was at least a funny moment within the scene that is not captured by this figure in particular. Now, I think the big slap for most collectors who didn't do their homework necessarily or didn't just read the post and just look at the photos is these photos show him in a throne as well that does not come with this figure. And so that either means that we're going to get another variant of this figure with the throne, or that they've actually put quite a bit of work into this piece and we'll never see it, which is a very odd exclusion, let's be honest. Overall, I definitely think it looks like Jack Sparrow. I think the likeness is still fantastic to Johnny Depp. The artistry and the paint applications look all great, but it feels a little close to the one we just got in our displays, to the point where, unless you're an absolute super fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, I'd be surprised to see collectors say they want both representations. But I'm happy to be wrong. What are your thoughts here, Mr. Dave? I'll go to you first here, buddy, on this, because I know you just got this Jack Sparrow in your display not that long ago.
yeah. What a ride that was. It was a whole ass saga getting that figure, man. Like, I had him on pre-order, and he came due, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need him. And I moved him on to somebody else, and I was like, shit, I really want him now. So then you were good enough to help me out in getting another one, and then the other one ended up coming back to me. so then I had two, and I was like, well, and then I had to get rid of one because you don't need two of these, and nobody wanted that figure. Like, I could not get rid of that figure. I took a huge loss in moving that on, which sucked a lot. And that makes me wonder, like, how many people actually want this?
Yeah. And
how many people are going to, first off, are going to buy it at retail, because you can't even get the artisan. The artisan Jack is pretty available last time I looked, and at not a terrible price. I can't imagine getting this over that if you don't have one at all. But as someone who has the Artisan, I love that figure. I think that's the best Hot Toys figure made. I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily need or want this one. It's just kind of more of the same thing with like a different bit of face paint. I think they could have done more with this. I think because we got face plates for the Artisan. There's no reason they couldn't have done that here. It looks like the same face even. They could have made one where his eyes are closed and he's got the painted eyes on his lids.
Yeah.
And they could have done the one where he's running away from everybody because those are the scenes, right? Those are the big scenes with this suit. With this, well, not even this. This is the same outfit he always wears with this face paint and this weird crown thing. And somebody had mentioned the other day of giving him like the seasoning stains under his armpits.
Yeah, they should have had another crack at a dog as well. Had the dog with the bone.
Yeah, they could have done the dog too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the dog was there.
Yeah,
I think they really kind of. I don't know what the thought was behind this. I'm really not sure. If I was going to buy another figure from Pirates, I would go and hunt down that Barbossa because I would much rather have that.
Yeah.
This is for the guy who is like, Jack is your guy, and you need to have it. Like I know Blue, I know he's really excited for this figure.
Hell yeah. Sweet.
And that makes sense when like Pirates is your thing. You want what you can get from it because you don't get a lot. So that makes sense. But I think they could have done better for the people who really want this.
That's fair. That's fair. Well said, buddy. And it's funny you mentioned like how many people are going to want it. I'm happy to hear that some people definitely do. Obviously, like that's always the case when it comes to collectibles. But not that I use this as much of a measuring stick, but even on like the preview video I did for this figure, it is now the worst viewed video I've made on the Ben Thomas Show since I started doing figure preview videos. It's had like 300 views, like internet wide. Like I was like, holy shit. And it took me like an hour and 12 minutes to make that video. Nobody watched it because obviously like they either have the other one and they're good with it or they just don't really care that much. And I thought people would be more excited about this, if I'm honest, because it's something different than Marvel and Superhero Fair and some of those things, but maybe not, at least based on the views. But hard to say. It's not always the best measuring stick. What do you think, Pete, in terms of this one, especially versus this last version?
Yeah, I think it's too scene specific. You're not going to have this as your one Jack. I think it's a very throwaway scene. I can't even. Is it from the beginning of the second movie? I can't even remember because weirdly, they've just branded it Pirates of the Caribbean. They haven't actually put
Dead Man's Chest.
Okay,
Dead
yeah.
Man's
So
Chest.
it's again, why is it a DX? Because it's got a base. It's really not.
That was a weird one too.
It's really not a DX because a DX should have the two head sculpts. Either as Dave said, with the closed eyes, or the screaming sort of sculpt. I think, and obviously the other stuff we've had has been from the more recent movies. I think what they really need to do and would sell hugely would be to have a first movie, Black Pearl.
Yes,
Jack, that is the look. That film to me is a fantastic film. The rest very much become more diluted the further along they go. The first film is fantastic, and a proper Black Pearl one would be the one that I'd want to. I've got the previous, the non-artist, the one they brought out before, and it's an amazing figure and the head sculpts and everything. And I love it, and I've kind of as much as I can, I've customized mine to be a Black Pearl version. But yeah, I would definitely look to buy if they brought out that. This just seems lazy to me, and I don't think that it will sell well, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. And it's funny, like there's always those figures that sometimes will end up at like the free figure of the year, at Sideshow at Christmas or some of those types of things. Like if I could get this figure locked in for either a really good bargain bin discount or like the free, spend $300 and get a free figure, I'd still be pretty jacked about it. Like, pardon the pun, what I mean? But like, but still not necessarily I'd want to go out of my way. And like, still massive improvements over the 1.0 that you guys can see here. Like,
what's with all those fingers? Has he got like a finger necklace or something that he
I can't
hasn't
even
now
remember
got?
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think he does.
in the movie
I
he
think
had the toe
does.
necklace. Yeah,
Because he's not
where
got
he
that.
does
bit
on
the
have
the-
that
nail
on the
off.
Yeah, he's not got that
Look
in
at
the
the
new one,
difference.
has he?
He
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
but they've gone out of their way to hide it.
Right. Okay.
They-
Because
they-
it's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, on the big
'Cause
picture of all the
it's gore.
accessories, they show it around his neck, but they got
Right.
it all blurred out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
For sure.
What is
Pretty
that?
big difference
What
from this
are we doing?
1.0 though. Like that's wild.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
But,
that's
yeah.
wild. Even like his little like his furry
It's
thing
just
here is
sculpted
like looks like a
plastic.
club.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll beat the shit
It's
out of people with it.
feather
You hate to see
duster,
It's the hardest feather
Yeah.
duster ever.
it. Yeah. All right. Legit. Adam, what do you think here, buddy, about Captain Jack Sparrow in his makeup?
I enjoyed the first movie,
I don't
and the
know.
rest of them were kind of meh for me. This is none of the Jack Sparrows are I really have any interest in, but to me, it's kind of like when I get excited about the Rocky figures and Conan and Highlander, and everyone else is like, this is kind of how I feel about Jack Sparrow. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it looks like him. Looks
Definitely,
like Johnny Depp. I think. I imagine if you're a Jack Sparrow fan, this is not for the one and done people. This is for the super fans who they want to have multiple versions of this character. This is a little bit more niche of the niche of Pirates of the Caribbean collectors.
Definitely agreed, buddy. Well said. Guys, we still have 45 people watching. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button today, if you've enjoyed the show, definitely be appreciated. Helps get the show out to all the folks. Let them know that we're back for Let's Get Nuts Sundays. It's funny because next Sunday I work a home show, so I'm going to still try to get home in time for another episode because I don't want to cancel any more shows, but I'll keep you guys posted for that for next week. Our buddy here, Johnny Chronicle, says, yeah, Artisan Barbosa or Davy Jones would have been sweet for him. Totally agree. It would have been more complimentary to the other figure, in my opinion, that already exists, as opposed to just having another Jack. Clearly, they're just trying to get their money's worth, I think, for the sculpt and the tailoring and all of it. But that's when I feel like 2.0s feel a little slappy in the sense of, what they are meant for. And like how much money, like, had they already soaked in, like for all we know, this is really just going to help soak up the remainder of their cost, right? I doubt that they're losing money on this figure at this point, because the margins are still pretty inflated, as we all know, right? That's why Hono can give you a seamless Wolverine for $165 and still make money, right? Like, margins are wild when it comes to these things. But really quick shout out here to Six Scale Treasures, again, the Instagram account I kept referencing today. Go over and give him a follow. You can scan that QR code and go straight to his Instagram. He does great figure comparisons, and he was nice enough to reach out to me directly and say, hey, anytime you want to use these on your show, you can. So I definitely appreciate that. Good people out there in the community. We should support them. In terms of Meso Menos, I was on this channel yesterday on 16fix, or the Jose Plus YouTube channel, for episode 15, where I faced off against Vita, aka her geeky side. My figure was Kill Bill Beatrix Kiddo. Her figure was Gladiator Maximus. So go over and watch that episode if you haven't already. It was a long show. It was 3 hours, so you can always skip right to it if you want, or there's more in there that we had a lot of fun on as well. But it was a really fun Shark Tank versus competition. So go over and take a look at that. I want to give a quick shout out to our classy nuts here, as well as our nut kings, of course. Anybody in bright green is over 2 years now. Elvin J, Honest Hansel, Figurecraft, Harry Dempsey, Big Rib, as Dean would say, 1/6 Figure Focus, Vedic, aka her geeky side, King Dingaling, Jose G Hernandez, The Real Tex Conway, Collection Obsession, Don Maton, Alex Serrato, Pop Culture Relics, Daniel S.C., Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Guest, Rachel Miller, Alex Serrato, Figure in a Bubble, Blurred Dad Life, Saphira Cosplay, Aaron Broverman, Monroe Corbeil, NW Collector, or now I know is L Walker. Love to see it. Let me know if you want me to keep it as NW or L Walker. You let me know, buddy. Omar Garabia, Johnny Chronicles, and I promised Johnny Chronicles last Let's Get Nuts that I would get you on the slide. Promise fulfilled, good sir. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate you, buddy, and sorry I'd missed that in the previous weeks. Mysterio Meotics and OU812-C1- Love to see it. We also got Not Kings, SpongeBob SquareBalls, miss you, buddy, as well as Field of Burn, miss you as well, good sir. Collecting Weekly, The Batman 12-inch Moose Dream, X-Men Supreme, Peter Cass, Valkyrie Magnus, Ron E, One Adam 12, Sith Scale Collector, OG Fan, When Star Wars Was Just Star Wars, Trevor Weed, and Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Guys, thank you so much for being Classy Nuts or Nut Kings. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I'm thinking here in the beginning of March, we're going to do another figure giveaway, and I'm going to put a poll up on the YouTube channel in our membership chat. I'm going to post a couple figures that I'm interested in putting up there. They are going to be figures that are pre-order figures, so that you can get something that's new in your collection, maybe that you don't already have, or save yourself some money on a pre-order. So keep your eyes peeled on the membership chat of the Ben Thomas Show. If you want to become a channel member, you can join for $1.99 there to become a Classy Nut, and it gets you in for those draws as well by scanning that QR code. All that to say, though, which was a hell of a mouthful, Mr. Adam, 1 out of 12, co-host of Let's Get Nuts, and a good friend. Good sir, anything coming up for you on your channel that you're excited about? And thanks for being back here as always, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me back. Great to be back with Pete and X-Man. Always a great time to spend little few hours on Sunday afternoon talking about this fun and cool stuff. Definitely check out Masamanos. It was between you and Vita. It was like an Olympic competition, one of the closest they've had. You've got to see Ben's pitch. Check it out. I'm actually going to be on. I'm going to be on the next Masamanos. It's going to be in March. Don't have a date yet. It's going to be myself, Sal, and Feezy, and the topic is that the viewers voted on sports figures. So that'll be interesting.
Tom Brady.
So many that you could.
We'll find out.
So many.
We'll find out. Maybe not. So in terms of my channel, I'm gonna. Well, before I get to that, I'll be on Friday. I'll be on the Movie Canon Geos, as I always am on Friday nights. And if you're going to be doing a show next Sunday, look forward to being back. Knock on wood with everything. For sure. In terms of my channel, you mentioned earlier, I have a new unboxing I just posted today of that terrific Dark Knight Returns Hot Toys figure. Great figure, chef's kiss. And then coming, I don't have an exact time when we're going to do it yet, but in the near future, I'm going to be doing a live stream called The 80s Kids. And what it is, it's a focus on what I think is the greatest decade in human history, the 1980s. And just, a little bit of 1/6 focus, but mostly it's going to be on like the culture, the music, the movies, might be focusing on different years, like 1982, films of 82 and 86,
I definitely, if I can fit it, if we can fit it in, Adam, I'd love to be on that.
I will be reaching out to you, my friend.
Ridiculous hour of the morning, but I'll see what I can do.
The greatest cartoons of the decade, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we got going on. And again, thanks for having me on.
Hell yeah, man. As always. I really appreciate you coming in on your Sundays when you can. And dude, honestly, use the Let's Get Nuts chat to advertise your show, as well as gain some support. So all of us streamers are already in there. So if you want to poach a few people, I will be totally cool with that. Use it to your advantage, my friend. Okay. So, which is awesome. X-Men Supreme here, 22 months. He says, "Oh wow, I'm almost out of wolf nut range."
He wants to say
you're going to be a Terminator in no time. There you go. So,
can I be a shirtless Wolvernut?
Yes, you can be. Yes, absolutely, you can. Yeah, I'll get Dean to custom make you a design, buddy. No worries. Mr. Pete, Only Fools and Collecting is back. Hell yes, Mr. Aaron articulates along with you. When is your next episode, buddy, and what's coming up for you, my friend?
Coming up this Thursday, so I need to start working on that, because I'm not giving it any consideration. And again, it might be a bit of a short show because we've probably got those same 3 figures. But we'll just have a general chit chat about stuff. If you haven't caught it, we did our own Let's Get Bolts. We didn't actually call it that. It was just an episode of Aeronautics. We did that last Sunday. It was meant to be a short show. I think we went 2 hours, 2.25 hours. It was a great show, good laugh. So do check that out if you can. And yeah, so we're back on Thursday for another OFAC. So it's good to be back because I did miss it. And Ian will drop in every now and again if he's available. But yeah, for now it's me and Aaron. Yeah, it's going good. So hope you see
If it
you
wasn't
there.
in the middle of my work day, I would try to.
Yeah,
come in
I
and do this
know.
a little bit more
I
as
know,
well,
this
'cause
is
it's
the
always a
thing,
really
yeah.
good laugh. It's always a good show.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
it's-
one of these days I'll poke you when it's coming up if I can get out,
Yeah.
scot free and just
that'd
tell the
be
boss
great.
I'm at an appointment or something. And
Yeah,
then come home and
absolutely.
get on the computer.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah,
right.
that'd be cool. That'd be
Why'd you
cool.
get fired from your job? Because I was on Only Fools and Collecting.
Yeah,
Like, come
yeah.
on.
Come on.
That's right. That's
Cut me
right.
some slack
That's
here.
right. That's right. Mr. Pete, dude, thanks for being back as always. I really, really appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Before I go to you, Mr. Dave, one quick shout out here as well. I had posted an Instagram photo of me wearing a couple different pieces. So as you guys can see, I'm rocking the Let's Get Nuts hoodie today. I've got Ben Thomas Show merch, all the things. I've had merch for quite a while, but if anybody wants to buy merch, people have been asking me where to find it. You can go right to the YouTube channel here. The link to TeePublic is right at the top of the page. All you do is click into the link, and it's all right here for you guys. You can get different, kind of everything really. If you guys can you guys still see this? Yeah, you can. Oh, we can't. Yeah, here, I'll move it over here in a second. But basically, any of my designs or anything like that, you can turn them into mugs or coasters or t-shirts or bags or laptop cases or cell phone cases, whatever you want. So if there's something that you think would be cool to rock the channel or support the channel,
For you.
Yep.
God, what happened?
What?
Did you send the stickers out again, or are you still?
So here, look, it's funny you say that. So I did send them out again, and half of them came back. So look, I've got them all right here.
Oh
So
man,
they've all been. This is the third time I've now made these
what's
stickers,
going
these
on?
things. So I'm gonna try it one more time, and if you guys don't get it, I'm refunding your money because I'm at the point where I'm like I've lost like $600 on
That
getting these
sucks.
stickers out.
Yeah,
It's awful.
Yeah.
So these are ready to go out tomorrow. They're going to go out again. Let's see if you guys get them this time. So, but
fingers
thank you to all the
crossed.
Nut Kings who have remained patient for that with me because, like, oh my god, it's mortifying. But
That's-
anyways, if you
Damn, that sucks.
yeah, third time I'll be sending them out, and it says like at the post office, all the addresses connected. They're just getting lost in the mail. Only 2 people have reached out to me to say they received their envelopes
Wow, that's
of
awful.
the 18 that I sent out. So. You hate to see it. So, but all good. It is what it is. Thanks for being patient. I appreciate that, guys. Mr. Dave, X-Men Supreme. Thanks for being back, buddy. As always, I really appreciate you, man. Anything coming up for you this week that we can be excited for you on?
No, just getting in where I get in. I'll be floating into the collector's figure stream tomorrow, like usual. I'll be in the chats wherever I'm not on the screen, and just doing the thing. I need to get myself one of these shirts. TeePublic does some good
look,
stuff.
you can get yourself a fanny pack with my face on it if you want. Right? Not too bad. I do not recommend these trucker hats. They are terrible. Don't buy it. Honestly, terrible. The mugs are pretty cool. I don't know if I'd wear Ben Thomas Show socks if I'm completely honest, but it's a thing. You guys can get the old logo, the new logo, Let's Get Nuts logo. If you want your Bub Nut shirt here, buddy, you can.
That's
always
the
get
one I
of
need
these as
right
well.
there. Yeah,
That's the one, right? And of
That's
course,
the one.
with that, and you can get all the different random things as well, shorts and mugs and all the fun stuff. So it's been fun. I've been slowly collecting a couple things. I got myself a Ben Thomas Show pin the other day, and it was actually really good quality. I was pretty happy with that. So, and I think the Let's Get Nuts one again is some of my favorite.
I might have to get one of those.
Favorite design. So, and of course, like with the shirts, I mean, like you can choose all the different colors under the sun. Like Pete, you could wear a pink one if you really wanted.
Yeah.
You could get yourself a tie-dye Let's Get Nuts shirt. Freaking wild.
Very 80s.
I love how there's similar designs here. Like nuts.
These nuts.
Yeah. Hello, doesn't put these nuts in my mouth. Like what the fuck? Oh my god, this is a good one. So
Where is it on the
guys.
page? I'm looking
right-
for it.
right, like in terms of like where to find the link.
Yeah.
Is it what you mean? It should be right at the top in my description. So where it says my description of the channel, there should be links there as well for the Ben Thomas Show.
Oh, okay,
TeePublic.
I got it.
See it there?
Yep.
So
Also,
just size comparison wise, if you guys are looking at sweaters, like this sweater, like I'm a pretty big guy, but like for me, like here, show you guys. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to flash you guys my ass here or anything like that. But it's a pretty decent sized sweater overall. This is a double XL. And so like I'm 6'2" and 235 pounds, 225, somewhere in that range. So I think the majority of the guys that I stream with would probably want at least a double XL, if not something even potentially in the 3XL range. It does shrink down just a little bit if you put it in the dryer, even on air. So just something to keep in mind. Go a little bit
looks
big
pretty slim.
first. So yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. As I said, for a what's it called, like a double XL, it's not a ton of extra material.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think you're
they're
streaming with some 4 or 5 XLs here, dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for a hoodie,
as they
go
said
big or
in,
go home, right?
as they said in the Kevin Smith movie Clerks, or maybe it was Mallrats, fandom. I think they're talking about comics, but it could be true for this fandom as well. It's for the underweight and the overweight.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to get myself a Let's Get Nuts mug, mostly because on one side it literally just says nuts. You love to see that. So, guys, that is the show for the day. Once again, if you're here, if you're just happening to join us for the first time ever, please subscribe to the channel, Ben Thomas Show. That'd be great to have you. We just hit 64,000 subscribers yesterday. We crossed 21 million views. Thank you so much for supporting the channel all this time. We're now on Disney Plus randomly, so you might get to see me there more often if you're on the American Disney Plus, which is really, really cool. But otherwise, I just want you guys to enjoy the show, have fun, keep the comments coming, and the videos that I post out there. When you guys are watching them, it makes it worth making them, if I'm completely honest. And then on your way out the door today, guys, if you don't mind, hit the like button. I would really, really appreciate that to get the video out there to everybody. But I'm going to let my panelists get back to their Sunday. I love you faces. Thanks so much for being here as always. And Mr. Adam, once again, good sir, we got nuts. We'll catch you on the next one, guys. Have a good one.
Wow, what a great week. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good. Where should I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.